knowing that at least some of the people that we cross path with don't forget, and they also appreciate and continue to share the little that we also either share with them or give. So I thank you for the opportunity. And what I will encourage us to do is pay attention. If there is anyone online who is trying to work live as we progress, working live, I mean, so we are going to do a part of the exercise practical where I show how it really works, just so that when you also want to use it, you know how it is done. I normally don't appreciate too much PowerPoint because sometimes it doesn't give the user, the practicality of the activity. So you do a PowerPoint presentation, the person goes on to the interface, and then the interface is somehow different from what was displayed, and then the slides. So we do a lot of it practical. But what I'm asking is that if at some point your system is malfunctioning, or if your internet is slow and you can hear me, just focus on the voice, focus on the screen. I believe your administrators are going to do a recording and will be shared with you, so that once we have the attention, it's a very simple process we are going to go through, so that once it's shared with you later, you can take your time and then look at it. The reason I say this is because most often when we engage in practical sessions, we try to follow and practice as the presenter or the instructor is ongoing. And what happens is that sometimes when you lag behind, you want to do what has been said before you join. What that does is that by the time you finish doing what I said previously, I would have said another thing which you are going to miss. So if your system, your internet, whichever challenge you face, I would, even if it's audio that you can join, please focus and let's have a smooth session so we can at later dates refresh and proceed. Okay. So can you see the screen, please?
Yes, we can see.
All right, great. Okay, so this evening, what we are going to do is look at the Mendeley Referencing Manager. So looking at the title of this seminar, we are saying automating literature search and referencing activity using Mendeley Reference Manager. What that simply means is that we are trying to see how best we can do some of these things by reducing the stress. Reducing the stress here means that incorporating more of IT processes into research than the way we used to do it. I have done this quite a lot, and then mostly people get engaged in these exercises and then they feel like, oh, but I can still do it manual. Now, as you do it, there are some challenges that you face and the stress that comes with it. You realize that if you did some of these things automated, these days our women and those men who cook find it a bit more flexible because the aspect of finding the fire and all those things are taken away, where you have the smoke and other things, disturbing your vision. So that if we are able to incorporate some of these things, what it means is that you focus more on the thinking aspect of the research instead of the stress of finding, keeping, where you may see someone having some aspect of his research resources in a computer, some may be in the email, others may be on a pen drive, in which case there are some time that you may lose some of these devices. And what it means is that you have to research, re-download these resources. All of these, if we don't take it into the working time, and we know that academic work is always time bound. You are always given the period within which you are supposed to deliver. And if you don't do that, then it takes, the stress, it increases the stress, it takes the time away from you. And then this is when you realize that some people sometimes get into extension and all that. Okay. So we're going to look at when we are not going to do practically how to search, but then we'll do some searching and then see how after searching, how you are able to organize keep these materials, group them, and be able to use them efficiently, and also refine them and have them for life. When at a later date after school you need to write a paper, you don't now go and re-look for these materials, because once you have these materials in your Mendeley account, you are always able to recall and reuse at any point as long as you are academically active. Okay. So what is Mendeley? So Mendeley, we say, is a free reference manager. So reference managers are various softwares. There are so many of them. I believe you are aware. We have Zotero, we have EndNote, we have RefWork and all that. But the University of Ghana, the reason we use this a lot, the University of Ghana subscribes to EndNote and Mendeley, which I can boldly say are two of the giants in the reference management software environment. Now, Mendeley gives you a free account and also a subscription account. So in University of Ghana, because we subscribe to it, mostly we have other advanced features that a free user may not have. But even with that, you realize that a free user still has enough resources to be able to complete an academic project and even beyond. So Mendeley is a free reference manager and academic social network that can help you organize your research, collaborate with others online, and discover the latest research. So currently, without the use of a reference manager, how does an individual collaborate? If you need to collaborate, have a group work or some research paper you are writing with a colleague, what we normally do is that if you have articles that you want them to take a look at, you send to them either by mail, maybe by mail or a learning management system in your school. But with the Mendeley, it gives you the chance to be able to collaborate by creating groups, all right, and sharing all around the world. Okay. Now, if you look at, mostly when we do this, people said, oh, but it looks as if it's tedious creating the account and downloading and adding files to my account and all that. But what you see on your screen is a typical, let's say, traditional researcher, right? So normally you see that with the traditional research or traditional academic work, you are almost device and location dependent most of the time in completing your research project. What that means is that you have, if you look at all these books that are on your screen, you can't carry them around if you need them to work with. What it means is that you become location or device dependent because you need to either be at your office or home desktop before you can work, or carry your laptop to some location before you can work, and you need to have these books by your side. So meaning that at every point you need to either be in the library or in your home office before you can work. All right. And in doing so, it takes a lot of time away from using Mendeley. If your institution subscribes to electronic copies of these materials, what it means is that you can have those resources in your account and be able to use them, being independent of location and device. Being independent of device, meaning that once you have reference management software, especially Mendeley, as we are going to look at, what happens is that all the references and the resources, the ebooks and the journal articles that you have are already in your account. Wherever you find yourself, once you are given access to any computer device or even your phone, you are able to access your account. If you need to search and add more materials, you can do that. When you are traveling in a bus, you have the chance of searching for relevant documents and adding them to your account, instead of the traditional way where you always have to set a time period to go to your library or go to a particular location or be in your office, wake up at dawn to do these things. You can save yourself part of the time by using the period in a bus or even at some leisure time to be searching for relevant material. So you realize that by the time you sit to work, you already have a lot of resources at your disposal, instead of always having to look for the materials at the time that you are ready to work. In which case, sometimes by the time you find relevant sources, you're already stressed out, you're tired. And then what you do is that you find your head on the table like the guy is doing. That guy is spoiling that book, you see his head on. All right. And then it eats into time. Now, if you look at the guy in the middle, you can see that it's possible that this guy may quote something from one of the articles spread on his desk. And then let's say stress sets in, you say, oh, let me stretch my limbs and come. Probably a word may walk in, or somebody, maybe your spouse or someone may pack your table. You realize that finding it becomes difficult, stressful. So what you do is that, okay, let me finish writing, I'll look for it and cite. In doing that, you may forget because you have already copied the text into your work. And then the result will become what is known as unintentional plagiarism, where you intended to cite, but for some reason you forgot. And then at some point, you begin to lose as though the text is yours because you can't tell where you took it from. And then it sounds so good. So anytime you yourself, you read it, you begin to feel proud because you have typed something that is very instructive, forgetting that you took it from a source that you did not cite, which we believe leads to academic dishonesty, which is very, very serious in academia. Now, if you look at this chapter, you can, based on the seriousness, simply conclude that this guy is trying to research into a new COVID vaccine. All right, you don't have any books on his desk, you don't have anything. It means that everything is on ebooks, he's on journal articles, he's on websites of notable organizations looking for materials and researching. If he needs to travel, he is not bound by that laptop you are seeing. All right, all you do is make your travel. When you get to a destination, all you need is another system. Once you log in, every single resource that you have in your account, you find them downloaded onto that machine, and you can straight away continue with your work, which is why we believe that adopting and using reference management into your work starting now is very relevant, which is why I will commend your leaders for organizing this. So what are some of the key benefits besides what I've said so far? Automatically generates bibliographies. Now, I have seen students, those who said they know me, you know that I've been in UG for quite some time, as a service person, TA, and then now as a full staff. You realize that I've seen people do their project work and then they procrastinate the bibliography generation. And that leads into the deadline struggle. So you realize by the time you're finished with your write-up, and that was the time that your supervisor will say that I'm traveling next week, and then the stress sets in, you need to fast track doing things, and then you need to type about between 50 to 150 reference lists, depending on the research you are on. If it's an MA, between about 70, 80, PhD, then it graduates like that. And these things can take a lot of time. If you are working with a supervisor who is keen on academic integrity and takes referencing seriously, then you need to be sure that your full stop, your commas, your semicolons, your arrangement of bibliographic information are all correct and are in the right positions. All right, and these things takes time, especially if you have not trained your fingers for professional typing, where you do what is known in Ghana as Kofi Wahin, Kwame Wahin, Wei Wahin, A Wahin, B Wahin. All right. Now, the second point is collaborate easily with other researchers online. So as I said earlier, you realize that the system gives you the platform to be able to, so there's what is known as Mendeley groups. All right, so once you create a group, it can be a group for colleague researchers that you are working on a project, or it can be a student group work. All right, regardless of your location, you may be at locations apart, but with using this software, what it means is that if there's any material any of you need to share, you can share it, you can read it, highlight portions that you want your colleagues to look at, and then you put it on the group account in the software. Once you have added them to the group, you are going to do all these things practically. Then you realize that they all get to see this. Instead of sharing with them by mail, sometimes they tell you, I didn't receive it. Maybe you went to your junk. Maybe there's this block and all that stress. It takes all these things away. All right, easily import papers from other research software. So if you are a user of other EndNote or Zotero or any other of the reference management software, you can also import your papers if you find Mendeley more easier to use by the end of the session. Now you're also able to find relevant papers based on what you're reading. So what happens is that once you create the account, I don't know if you have created your account yet, but once you create a Mendeley account, whilst doing it, it asks you for your email, it asks you for the program of study or of the field of study. And then those pieces of information together with the content that you search and upload into your account, the system runs an algorithm of interest and then be able to suggest other related articles to you, even onto your phone. Now, the benefit here is that whilst using your phone, these things are suggested. All you do is that you look at the abstract, all right? If it is beneficial, if it's something that you think you may need in the future, then you send it into your account right there from your phone. Okay, so meaning that at every point, you yourself, you have created a catalog of relevant resources in your field of interest, in that by the time you sit down to write on any topic, your first point of search, instead of looking for journal database and ebook platforms or Google Scholar and online, is your own laptop on your account interface in Elsevier's cloud server. Access your papers from anywhere that I mentioned. So once you have this account, you become device independent. So meaning that you don't need to carry the same laptop. Assuming you are coming home for vacation, then you have your laptop and you can leave your laptop once you get here and you have another machine or you buy another. All you do is sign in, or you have all your resources and you can continue to work. All right. And then we're saying that you can also read your papers on the go using the Android and the other apps that's using your tablets, your phones, and other smaller devices, either than your laptop. Now, free academic software is a cross-platform. So Mendeley has a Microsoft Windows version. It has a Linux, Mac, and all that. And then it works with major browsers, but I don't know of the browser situations in China. We hear a lot of stories that some sites get blocks once if they are true or not. But the major browsers that I know it works well with are Google Chrome and Mozilla Firefox. So just be sure. So I'm going to show you some of the tools that you need to install, especially Web Importer, which helps you to attract articles directly into your account without downloading them. Then what you then look at is the browsers that works best for you. But if it's an open web, then Google Chrome and Mozilla Firefox are the best. Now, how does Mendeley help you? If you look at what's on your screen, if you look at what's on your screen, excuse me. So we are looking at this group, all right? Man, what's happening? So this is a diagram telling you the system arrangement of reference management, especially that of Mendeley. So you realize that you have your e-resources, all right? You have your resources, general databases in which you can get ebooks and your browsers and all that, okay, on this side, all right? And then this is Elsevier. Now, if you didn't know, Mendeley is owned by Elsevier. Now, Elsevier is one of the giant publishers of academic research resources. So Elsevier owns Scopus, they own Science Direct, and they own Mendeley as well. So these are the databases. Now, this is the Elsevier's cloud server, and these are the devices and the browsers that you will normally be using. So at this side, you are searching for materials from donor databases. So this is the cloud server that makes you device or location independent, meaning that once you source your materials and upload them into your account, you have backups in Elsevier's cloud server. So anytime you find yourself on any other machine, all you do is log in and you have your resources downloaded from here onto the device and you can always work. Okay, so how does the collaborative aspect work? So like I said, you create a private group. They used to be public, but Mendeley has retired those. So once you create the groups, what happens is that you are able to share resources. So if you look at what's on your screen, you can see some portions of this article annotated. So the software allows you to read your article inside of it, just so you can highlight relevant portions in there, the benefit of which we'll look at as we go on. Now, I realize that once you do this, so for instance, you have you are writing your thesis and you have a research method book you are looking at. Let's say you're reading the introduction of the book, and then somewhere along the line, it talks about why choosing a specific site for a research or why selecting a particular sample size, all right, is relevant. Now, you don't gloss over this piece of information just because you are not at chapter 3 yet, where you need sampling and then population to come in. What you do is that you highlight those pieces of, because you by all means need them when you get to that chapter. So what the software affords you is the opportunity to highlight those pieces of information, even when you don't have a need for them in the immediate. All right, so that anytime you get there, all you do is scroll through the article. If it's a book, you scroll through, realize that every salient point in there you would have, highlighted. Then you go on to use them. Okay, now it also affords you the chance to create your own profile, upload your own articles in there where others can look at and also be able to find you. So this sample individuals who belong to a group that I created, I'll share with you when we get there. Okay, so this will be doing live. So when you log into Mendeley, www.mendeley.com, I like to call it Mendeley.com, because if you adopt its usage, I mean, there is no delay in completing, especially your in-text and your bibliographic list population, and also especially grouping and arrangement of your research materials. Now, just imagine you have a folder into which you download all your ebooks and articles, and you have about 100 of them. Looking for a particular one that you have used over a month ago becomes difficult. So you have the chance to at least group these materials based on their topic areas, which makes it easier to find. So to create an account, you hit their website. We'll do all this practically. Click on create free account, and then this interface greets you. May I ask, okay, so these are students, we are with students of different institutions, right? You belong to different universities, right?
Exactly.
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay, so that's fine. So assuming if your institution subscribes to Mendeley, then what you do is that you use your institutional email. So for Mendeley, I don't know if it's the same in your institution, but with the UG's arrangement, once you use your institutional email to create the account, you automatically activate all the advanced features. So please find out from your library if them or your IT unit, if they are the ones managing the subscription. That is if your institution subscribes to it. But if it's for the free version, then you can use your own private email. So once you do that, when you click on next, it's going to ask you to put in your details. You do that, and then to ask you for your field of study. Please try and choose the one as close as possible. As I said earlier, this is how the system is able to run and then suggest relevant and related articles and books to you for consideration in the future. So if you choose more broader an area, it becomes difficult for that to happen. Then you realize that the suggestions are not that refined. You have to reject some and all that. But if you do that properly, you realize that almost everything that will be suggested to you is relevant. Okay, so once you finish creating your account, the software in its bid to make you free or device independent gives you two interfaces, what we call Mendeley Web and then Mendeley Desktop. So the web account is like opening your account on Elsevier's cloud interface, where you can attract articles from journal databases and ebooks and upload content and all that when you are online. And then we have the Mendeley Desktop, which is your companion for the actual writing and citing when you are on your desk completing an assignment or a project. So we'll go through all this. So how does it help? Again, it helps you build your library. So by now, I believe that, since I started using this package since 2014, almost every single material that I ever used for any project is still in my account. But for some who are now going to use, you realize that some of the articles probably that you use for your first degree, if you are still doing the same program, you have forgotten about them, or you need to research for them. All right. If you are doing your PhD, some of the articles you use for your master's, which probably are still relevant, you don't have them anymore, or you are still looking for them. But in using the software, whichever stage you are, even if you're on your PhD, by almost when you finish, you'll be writing articles. And you most definitely fall on almost the same types of books and journal articles. So you have all those content in your account, in which case you get to build a very solid library covering every aspect of your research area and sub areas. So it affords you the chance to add documents into your account. I'll speed over this so we do it practically. Create folders to group them. And then it also affords you the chance to attract articles online. All right. And for easy searchability, there's what's known as a Mendeley research catalog. So as you create your account, I create mine, people all over the world create their own account. What's happening is that we at the end creating a catalog, all right, of Mendeley users, in which case you can search for articles inside of Mendeley. Now, what happens is that if I search for copyright reasons, the system will give me only the bibliographic information of the content that I search for. If my institution subscribes to it, so assuming I search and I find an article on information literacy and University of Ghana, and the material is in Elsevier, let's say Science Direct, and University of Ghana subscribes to it, then I can see the full article and download. Otherwise, it will only give me the information about the material. Then I can use my institutional credentials to find it and then download it. All right, so it gives you other means of searching. And as I've always said, searching for relevant resources is very tedious. So what we do as librarians is that we keep clicking. Sometimes people have challenge of finding resource. When they come to you and you're able to get it for them, then they get surprised. I've been doing this for weeks. How did you get it so quickly? It's because we don't stop clicking. So you search here, you don't get it, you go to Mendeley. There are times you search for material in most reputable catalogs and databases, you don't get it. But then you go even to the open web, and then a material written by some professor will be in there for you. So you don't stop clicking. You keep searching. You move from here and there to find relevant sources. Now, it also affords you the chance to synchronize your sources. So remember earlier I mentioned the use of the online interface and then the desktop. So synchronizing means that you are ensuring that all your resources are backed up. So if let's say you send some materials from your phone to your account, once you sit on your desktop, then you click on Synchronize. What it means is that materials that are on your desktop, it sends copy into the cloud. And then the ones that are already in your cloud account, it sends copy on your laptop so you can work, which is what actually advances the device and location independence in your research process. So it helps you to also organize your library, and in organizing your library, as I mentioned, so you have some of these tools where you can sort by materials that you recently added, recently read, materials that you can make favorite, especially when they are part of resources that you are currently using for an assignment or a project. You can upload your own content, all right? Materials that you think needs review are always indicated. And then, the most importantly, it gives you the chance to create folders on topical areas where you are able to save materials in those topics such that if you need to find them at a later date, it becomes easier. When we get into practice, you see my screen and see how I have used these folders to categorize materials, even for the ones that I search for people. So citing and referencing becomes easier, all right? So it gives you the chance to be able to integrate Microsoft Word and Mendeley. So that's how the system works. Once you install it, there's that integration. And before I forget, if you stop using it for a long time, it disintegrates. So then you need to reintegrate it by clicking on Install MS Word plugin in Mendeley. So we'll do that when we get there, just so I don't forget. And then sometimes some of the questions I receive when I do these trainings so after the in-text, are you able to also do multiple citation? Yes, the software is always able to help you do that. So we look at all those things and how you can go about them. And then insert your, so once you are typing and doing your in-text, you don't think about your bibliography or your reference list because those ones are populated for you automatically. So you do your in-text, the reference list, but it's populated. By the time you hit your last full stop, your reference list is done. If your supervisor has a journey to make, you just send it to him by mail, or you are also done and then you go submit. Now, just to share with you some of the time-saving features in the package for you. Now, Mendeley suggests, I think I mentioned earlier, is a feature in the package that enables the software to be able to suggest relevant articles to you, all right, to be able to consider. And then, so if you look at what's on your screen, this was captured from my account. So you see information fluency, not information literacy, which is in information science, my area. All right. So when it suggests for you, you look at them, and then the ones that are relevant to you, you send them to your account instead of you having to go online to find them. And then I also mentioned the issue of highlighting and annotation. This thing saves you time. You don't read a whole book looking for, let's say, population. And then when you come across sampling, you know that after population, you'll be coming to sampling. Then you see something instructive on sampling, then you gloss over it. When you finish, you say, I think I saw something in that book. Let me go and get it back. No. If you are using the reference manager, once you see anything that's instructive, you can always tell what is useful now and what can be useful in the future, even beyond your studentship, so that you highlight this and annotate them. So annotation meaning you put a small descriptor about why you highlighted that piece of text, so that if at a later time you come back to it, you are able to tell why you highlighted it and know how you are going to use it. And then web importer, also one of the time-saving features. So ordinarily, so this is an interface from Science Direct. When you search and find articles, normally you have to go through the many hits that are given you, and then you download them one after the other after looking at the abstract to see if it's relevant for your work or not, one after the other. But when you're using Mendeley, it affords you the tool that is known as web importer. So this interface is online, and this is the web importer. So what it does is that once you click on it, so this is the importer that I have on my browser. Once you click on it, what it does is that it captures all the articles or the content on the interface. So it works on publisher interfaces, so journal databases and ebook platforms, please, not open websites, and then Google Scholar interface. Okay, so it will capture all the content of the page, and then you go through, so you can see that I've selected this and that. So once you click on add, these are going into your account directly, your Mendeley account, instead of normally when you have to download it to your system and then go through the process to add it. This time around, you capture and add them directly into your account, in which case you save time. And then Mendeley data. Okay, so Mendeley data is on its own. It's the feature that affords, part of the discourse in academia now is that people should also be giving credence for the data that they churn out, because it's been realized that people go to the field, get into the lab for weeks and then get data. Now, what happens is that the world or academia or research environment only is concerned with the reports that is churned out. What if the guy lied? What if there are aspects of the data that was collected that can be merged with other data collected elsewhere for reanalysis to bring out new facts? All right. So you can look at, we will not be spending time on Mendeley data. Later, you can look at it and see how it works, so that you see how you can process and prune your data and be able to upload them, so that in future, when anybody uses that data, the system, like you are giving credit, just like the way if people read your article, they cite you. People who use your data in the future will also have to cite you, and it increases your research outlook and credibility online. Okay, so that's about the presentation. If any of you at the end, so Mendeley has what they call Mendeley advisor. So a Mendeley advisor is anybody who uses it and finds interest in also sharing, like I'm sharing with you. So I have gone past advisor. I am a certified Mendeley librarian. I've taken a course in it. So sometimes they call me for training and all that. You can also do that. So if you need resources for further studies on any aspect that we're doing or for revision after we are done with this session, you go to these links. All the resources are there. This presentation that you see me having is a default presentation that Mendeley has. So if you have a training, what you do is that you tweak it, rearrange, sort them out, add pieces here and there to make it suitable, because Mendeley believes that it is a single package, and for that, the information shared on it shouldn't be too much at par. So if you need to use, please visit this site and you get resources for your training as well. Yes, so before we move into live practical mode, if anybody has any question or contribution or concern, you can share now. Thank you for the half time. So we are going to have 3 halves. This first half, we are moving into the second half, which is going to be Mendeley Desktop. And then the third half will be Mendeley Web, how to use Mendeley when you are online. So the floor is open if you have a question as at now, as I switch from the PowerPoint onto my Mendeley Desktop. So if you have also installed it, you can open now.
Hello, if you have a question.
Are we okay?
Hello, if you have a question, you can raise up your hand and I'll call you, or you type in the chat box and then I'll read it out. Evan, I've seen that you've unmuted yourself. If you have a question, you can go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, and thanks the resource person for this insightful thought on Mendeley. I'm not a user of Mendeley. I normally use EndNote. But before we go into the practicality, I'd like to know if there is a way, because one thing I've realized with EndNote is that sometimes with the arrangement of the bibliography, instead of specifying all the names of the authors, sometimes it tweaks it and it reduces it to the etal. And you know, when you send it to the journal, I mean, it's not recommended. You need to state all of them. And I also want to have my hands on Mendeley. So I'd like to know if there is the opportunity to migrate your references from EndNote. Yeah, the library, exactly, from EndNote to Mendeley, whether that platform is there. Thank you.
Yes. So you can do that. You can easily migrate. So we'll go through that. So when we before we finish the Mendeley Desktop, please, if I don't remember, ask the question again so that I'll take you through how to do that. You can always migrate your library from one or from each of it, whether from Zotero or any of the reference management software.
Very well.
Yeah.
Any other question? Okay, Tifa.
Yes, please, my Mendeley kind of, I don't know what to, got stuck or whatever at a point after I got here. When I opened the software, at the bottom of it, I have downloading and then 99%, and it never opens. So I am not able to add any more papers. I'm not able to, I'm not able to use it at all because it's stuck at the 99% and it still says downloading.
So you mean when you tried opening it, getting into this training session? No,
since that was in 2019 after I got to China.
Hey.
So I had to quickly start using EndNote because it was not allowing me to work with it. So for this session, I uninstalled it and then reinstalled, and it's still doing the same thing. It's kind of, I don't know if I synced it or something. I don't know what happened because I was using it all right before I got here. And even when I got here, for the first few months I was using it, then this problem set in. And since then, I'm not able to use it.
This is surprising because does it open like what you see on the screen?
Yes, it's opened like what I see on the screen, but at the bottom,
Here, so you
It
see
has
some like downloading. Here on the status bar here.
Yes, on the status
okay,
bar,
so
it has downloading.
not but so when it's doing that, you're unable to use it to cite.
Yes, I'm not able to use any of the functions.
Okay, so do you have it open right now?
Yes, I have it opened.
See if the highlighter is on all documents up here.
Sorry to barge in, but I think somebody has sent a message that it was closed in China in 2017, so the person needs to use VPN. I can't guarantee the authenticity of this message, but somebody just placed it.
That is true. Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
For you to
but my VPN is on at the moment, though.
On your PC?
Yes, on my PC.
Because
so please, since you are there with a lot of disciples, please get in touch with those who can help, okay, so that you sort yourselves out. Because I don't know why, but I like Mendeley, so I don't know. Everybody and their preference, you know. Okay. So any other question before we zoom in? So after clicking, is it working, Jifa?
Please, you said I should click on all documents,
right? All
documents,
yes.
I have all documents, but
it's highlighted.
All I have, yes.
And still it's not working. Are you able to click on the articles like I'm doing?
Yes, I can click on the articles will open.
Oh, but then, so why do you say you are unable to use it? Or when you go to Word, you don't find it to cite?
Yes, I think
it's not appearing.
Oh, okay. So then I think it's disintegrated. So you take it easy. We'll get there. Okay.
Okay.
When we get to that stage, we will see if that's the problem.
All
so
right.
You remember during the presentation, I mentioned that when you stop using for a long time, it disintegrates. Yes. So unless you reintegrate it, probably that. Let's hope, as Ghanaians and believers, let's hope that is it. Hallelujah. All right.
Somebody wants to know if you can have both EndNote and Mendeley on the same machine at the same time.
Yes, I do. Yes, you can. I have both on my machine.
Okay.
You can have both. You can have both. All right.
Okay, I think
any other?
I think we can proceed for now.
Okay. So let's proceed. When we are done, we'll look at all the questions and then.
Yes.
So, Mr. Moderator, take note of the questions. When we finish with everything, then we go through the questions. So we'll use the questions for a revision.
Okay.
Okay. Now we are starting with Mandalay Desktop, which is your companion for the writing and citing. Okay. So to use it, first and foremost, using the package does not mean that you relinquish your activity of searching for relevant materials and organizing them, right? All those actions still hold. It's one of the reasons why sometimes some of my PhD students, you take them through the session and then they don't use it at the beginning until when they get to third year and the pressure mounts. Then just yesterday, I had someone in my office, all right? So I will urge that those who have not been using it, please, when we finish, start using it. If you have a way of calling, look, you can call and then you get support. If you can call me, call your colleagues. So you realize that if you start using it now and then you face the problems and get them solved, you see, by the time you get to the tense, period of your project work or research, then you have your hands on it to be able to work freely. Okay. So that aside, to be able to use the software, it is still your duty to search for relevant materials and add them into your account. So all these articles you see, so currently I have 970 documents comprising journal articles and ebooks. All right. All these things, I added them myself one after the other. Of course, I can say that about 100 of them probably may be junk because when I'm doing trainings, I sometimes add some things for just examples. Okay, so how do you add content into your account? So let's assume that you have downloaded some articles on our machine and we are going to add them. So to add content, you go to add. You can see add from here. My mouse is hovering there on the top left corner. So you click on the drop down. Now on the drop down, we have add files, we have add folder, we have watch folder, and we have add entry manually. Now add file and add folder do basically the same thing. The only difference is that if you choose add folder, it means that you are extracting the content of the selected folder, every item in the selected folder. So assuming I click on add folder and then I go to downloads folder, we all know that in the downloads folder, mostly you have mixed content, all right? Videos, audios, articles here and there. It means that it's going to add all of them, a lot of which may be irrelevant, okay? So when you need to select from a folder of mixed content, then you choose add files. Then you realize that the system opens the folder and gives you the chance to select from the individual items, all right, to be able to add them. So that's the difference between add file and add folder. So when you have to add content into your account, the question is, am I extracting all the content of this folder? If that is so, then you choose add folder, else choose add files. Now, watch folder I don't use often, but then it gives you the chance to create a folder, let's say on your desktop or somewhere on your machine. And then anytime you are downloading, you assign the system to download those content into the folder. Once you do that, so assuming I select it, this particular folder, and I click OK, what's going to happen is that any article I download into this folder, the software is going to pick it up automatically, okay, without me having to go through add and then choose add file and select the files to be added. In that case, you download it into that folder and then the system will pick it up. Now, the last one is add entry manually. Now, this is where I normally like to start the training from. Add entry manually has to do with when you have, let's say, physical books. Of course, it's not every material that you chance on to use that you can get the soft copy. Sometimes you would have wished you had a soft copy, but probably your institutional subscription does not cover that. Probably you are searching, you can't find, and then you had a hard copy in your library and you borrowed. You will be typing quotations from it into your work. And once you do that, you still need to cite it. So how do you get Mendeley to cite the manual material that you have on your desk typing from? All right. So to do that, you need to create the reference information, what we call bibliographic information of it into your account. So if, for example, I show you some of, so if you look at this, so this is a website, we'll do an example like this right now. So if you look at this and that, so for this you have the PDF, but because this is a website, all right, I was looking for information about Corona on WHO's website, all right. So this one, when you click on it, you can see that I have only the title of the page, the author, who's WHO, and then you have the date assessed, all right, and then the URL, which is basically the bibliographic information that is needed, and then the year is supposed to be there, all right. So if you take it also to be a book, so this one I think, yes, it's a book. This is a journal article, okay, but then the PDF is not there. But then, so what it means is that, assuming I have the manual article on my desk working right now, after typing from it into my work, then I'll click on it to cite. So let me just demonstrate. These days I like to do it like this. So let me open Microsoft Word, and then we do the citation side by side whilst we go on. Okay, so manual add entry manually covers physical books. You use it when you visit a website and you are taking content from a particular web page of the website. If, assuming you pick some relevant video from YouTube, you watch, and then at some parts you have typed or transcribed some portion of the author's speech into your work and you need to cite, then you need to create the bibliographic information about the video, because there's an author of the video, there is the title of the video, the date it was produced, the URL from which you found it. You need to create all that manually so that when you finish using it, you are able to also cite it. Now, someone will say, if that's the case, then why don't I cite it manually? Now, if you cite it manually or you type the reference list manually, what happens is that when you do it automated using Mendeley, it sorts them. So it doesn't just cite, it cites and sorts your reference list. So you don't finish. So in University of Ghana, we use APA. I don't know what you use at your various universities. We use APA. So once you choose the APA, once you are citing, the system is sorting the reference list for you. So meaning that you don't finish and then go and think about how to sort them out. Okay, so what was the, so I was looking at this one, that's Brown-Lawrence. Okay, Brown-Lawrence, and then the ultra-urban migration. So when I want to cite, so this is how you cite, we are going to do it side by side. So as me, I want to cite that article. So I've quoted something from that article, which says that research output of Ghanaian, take it easy, a bit, okay, of Ghanaian students in China have been seen to follow academic standards. All right, so assuming I took this from that book and I need to cite it. Now we all know that there are two ways of the in-text citation. So it is either the citation is what is known as part of the statement, where we say according to so and so, or you quote and then the citation, the in-text is at the end. All right, so assuming I'm putting it here, so say in the view of, so ordinarily if you are typing manually, we are going to type the author's name, but using Mendeley now, once you get here, all right, you leave the cursor blinking where you want the in-text to be, and then you go to reference. So we are infusing how to cite into it straight away. So you go to references on your menu bar, then you see insert citation. Now when you get here, it is either you type, okay, the author's name, if you know the author, or the title, or you click on go to Mendeley. And then, so this is the author I wanted to cite. So once you come here, you select it, and then you click on in citation, all right? Please don't click on the label, click on the tab, click on citation. All right, so now you see that the citation has been inserted. So once that is done, when the author, for APA standards, you need to know which standard the institution uses and know how it works. So for APA, when the citation is part of the statement, where we say in the view of so and so, in the view of Brown and Moore, okay, it's only the year that has to be in bracket. So unfortunately, you can't automate that in Mendeley as at now. So you delete this bracket, and then you delete this comma, space, and then enclose only the year, which is the APA standard format, when the citation is part of the statement or comes before the quotation. So once you do that, the software is asking a question, say the citation Brown and Moore has been manually edited, sorry. Do you want to keep this? Now, because I did it intentionally, so you click on keep manual edit, and then that's it. All right. So I advise that the moment you cite your very first author, or once you start a project, please create 2 pages. So the page where you start the work, and then have another page and have your reference title immediately. Okay, so I have my reference title, so references. All right, so I select bold, and I put my mouse pointer beneath it. All right. Now, once you do that, then immediately you click on, you see we have our in-text, but I told you that the reference list also generates automatically. But you know, in every system, a human being has to pull a switch before it works, no matter how automated. So what it means is that for the bibliography or reference list to start populating, you need to activate it. So then up here, you click on Insert Bibliography. Now you do this once for every project, every assignment, every work that you are on. So once I click here like this, so that's my reference list, all right? You don't make this part of your stress. Now look at the number of commas and full stop, the abbreviation, the italicizing of the genre and all that. You don't have to make this part of your stress, okay? So we are done with this, okay? So assuming I put another quotation just for the curious mind, somebody says one. So let me quote someone again. So I go to Insert Citation, go to Mendeley, and then I choose Derek, and I click on Cite. All right, now I realize I've just cited two people in text. Now this one comes after the quotation, so it's fine. Now you can see that the reference list is populated. All right, let me intentionally cite someone else, and then so you get to see how the sorting happens. So I have a B, so let me look for an A. So a Japan and a J, Cite. So it's in here. So we have three in text, we should have corresponding three. So you can see a J is the last one that I did cite in text, but then the system has done the sorting and arrangement. All right, all this you would have been doing manually if you decide to work using the manual way. Okay, so that's basically how to cite. So let's get back. So that's how you create. So what we are going to do is that we're going to visit a particular website and then look at how the add entry manually works. So let me get a browser. Okay, and then which website are we going? What's World Bank? World Bank is okay, worldbank.org. All right. So assuming we're doing some financial stuff or development stuff, and then we found ourselves on World Bank's webpage looking for information on current developmental support, all right? So handling corporate debt in developing countries, all right? So assuming I'm writing something on this, so I click on this. Now, please never forget, you always cite a web page. We don't cite the website itself. Okay, so I click on it. This is the content I am given. And then it said the scale and scope of COVID-19 economic crisis has blah, blah, blah. So assuming I find this to be somehow instructive and I want to copy part of it into my work. So let's say I take this, I'm writing something on COVID-19 and finance. So I copied this from World Bank's website. I think I left the T. Sorry. And then I get into my work and then I paste it. Right? Once I have it here, always try to format your work. You can see that it's grayed out. Black it. And then I need to cite it. Now, the question is, who owns this piece of text? Now, let's go back to Mendeley. So we need to create the bibliographic information of that web page so that once we have copied and pasted something from the page to our work, we can use that information to cite it and then have the corresponding reference list populated. Okay, so how do we do that? So then we go to add, and then we go to add entry manually. Now, if I go back to the web page, the question is, first of all, what type of content are we creating the bibliographic information for? Now, what is here is journal article. Is this correct? I need an answer.
No.
What type of content are we creating it for? So what are we creating it for?
Web page.
Web page. Good. Thank you. So you pop the arrow down. Now, before we move on, you can see that you have various forms of manual. So you have report, you have patent, newspaper. So whatever it is you are creating, go there, click on it, because the essence is that the bibliographic information you need to cite a thesis in your school differs from what you need to cite a page, from what you need to cite a patent, a magazine, a newspaper, report, article, or whatever, right? So you choose the appropriate source type. So we are currently on a web page, so I choose web page. Now the other question is, what is the title of the page we are on? Yes, what's the title? Somebody tell me.
Corporate debt.
Okay, so the title is corporate. The title is Corporate Debt in Developing Countries, Preparing for the Worst and Hoping for the Best. That is like some line to espouse. Preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. Okay, so that's our title. So you copy it. I like to copy and paste. So you copy it. Okay, so let me do that again. Somebody asked the last time, how did you copy it? So you highlight it, right click, and then copy. I like to use Control-C. All right, so then you come back to Mendeley. So you delete this and you paste it in there. So you have your title. Now, who is the author? Let's go back. I take my time to do this most of the time, because a lot of students, when they get to website, some of them like to use the institution, even when it's not the case. And those who don't want to also tell you that there's no author and all that. Okay, so who is the author of this page? Please look critically. So I'm scrolling around. If you see an author, for me, I can't see anything.
There's no author.
There's no author.
The president of the World Bank.
Is what?
Insolvent. The president of the World Bank. No, go.
No, the article is writing about them.
Is it from Insolvency series?
What is Insolvency series?
Please go up. Follow the hashtag. Yes. No. Yes. Rather down. Yes. 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 Yeah. Where your cursor is? Oh, you have shifted again. Yes. Follow us. Follow the event.
Follow us.
Follow the event. Come down small. Scroll down small again.
Scroll small, okay.
Here. Yeah, scroll down.
I mean this. Follow the event on Twitter, Insolvency series. Do you think Insolvency series is the author now? No. So it's hashtag Insolvency series. So this could just be a term that is created for some series of writing on financing systems in COVID era. All right. Okay. So what do you think the author is? We are discussing. Who do you think is the author?
World Bank. I think the World Bank is the author.
Okay, there's vim in your voice, and that is good. So why are you thinking so? The reason is what's important, not the righteousness of your answer. So why do you think it's World Bank?
It was a conversation between some people, and then World Bank decided to publish it. So they did the transcription from the voices and made it into word to paste on their web page, I think. So I think they own it as it is in their web page now.
Okay. All right. And then you can.
Hello, sir.
Is there any? Yeah. Yes, I'm here.
Yes, please. With what my colleague just said, I think you can't take conversation between some people and then post it on your web page as your own, claiming it to be your own. So I rather think probably it is a project that was sponsored by the World Bank. That is why they have been able to post it on their webpage.
Exactly, and because the
Eric.
discussion at some point whereby these groups were part of the discussion. Yes, sir.
Okay, I was thinking you could also get it from the URL.
The URL.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the URL, what do you see there?
Yeah.
live.worldbank.org.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason I do this is because sometimes you get to a page and then there's an author, but then people kind of tune their mind to, I don't know for what reason, that anytime you find a content on any page, then it belongs to the corporate body on whose page the content is. That is not always the case. So for instance, one of you can write an article about, let's say, financing rural areas during COVID-19. If you write that and World Bank finds your article to be very, very important in development, they can post that on their website. Does that mean you as a writer, you lose your authorship? No, all right? So we are tormenting you to do this just so we always take our time to look around the page and be sure that it is the corporate body on whose webpage we are looking that owns it, or if the authorship belongs to an individual before it was posted on the webpage. So thank you for your contributions.
Hello, sir.
Okay, so now we all agree that this is World Bank, right?
Hello?
Now, what is the, hello?
Yes, please, I'm also looking at a web page right now. Yeah, the corporate body is there, but I can see...
You are looking at a different web page or this one?
No, not this one, a different one. The corporate web page is there, and there is a co-author. How about that one? It has been written co-authored by, then the person's name comes.
Co-authored by, then the person's name comes. So it is. So does it tell you who and who authored it?
No, just one person.
It just say co-authored. So that you are saying the assumption is that it's the institution and the person.
Yeah, maybe like how that.
Okay, you since you are the only one seeing it, let's focus on this one. Okay. Now we have our author. What is the publication date? Now I'm scrolling around. If you see it, you tell me. Now we are fetching bibliographic information that we need to cite. Those are the pieces of information that are relevant for anybody who wants to read further or who wants to challenge the authenticity of your content to go and ascertain. All right. So tell me, what is the date of publication?
For 2021.
What?
What month?
March 4th, 2021.
No, that is when the event will take place, not as it's published here.
Right.
Okay.
So this is an event that is going to come up. But then this has already been written, all right, and we are using that.
Okay.
So then what is the date? So if we cannot use the one up there, which one are we using?
I think we could use the date we accessed the web page.
Which is what?
May 27th.
Okay, so you realize that, of course, this is the date that the project is going to take place. But whatever it is, in citation, we use the year. We don't use the actual date, day, month, and year, right? So we could still go for 2021. Now, in some cases, like the one our colleague just said he's looking at on a particular web page, you realize that for the guy who just spoke, please, do you have the date of publication as part? Is it there on the one you are looking at?
You mean the websites I'm looking at?
Yes. Where you have the name of the co-author, do you also have the date of publication?
No, please.
It's not there.
Yes, it just says that the author is a process and sales engineer with a picture there.
Okay. So in that case, if there's an author, normally you see the author's name somewhere around here above the write-up, and then the date should be there. If that is not the case, then you scroll down onto the status bar down here. Now you also see the copyright symbol here, all right, and the date is there. Now, the reason why I always advise that if there's a date up here is more important is because web pages are created and populated over time. It could be possible that this date down here, all right, could have been 2020, meaning that this page was created 2020, but then some of the content of the page were populated this year. You realize that when we click on this, it's going to take us somewhere else. When we click on some of these, it's going to take us to other, these are links, right? Yeah. So you need to be very careful whilst you fetch this information. If the date is here, it is more appropriate to the date the content was written and published as opposed to what's on the status bar. So unless there is no date here, as it is in this case, then you use the one down here. There's some feedback from someone's system.
Please, I have a question.
Please mute if you are not talking. There's some very disturbing feedback. Nkatia.
I have a question. Yeah, I have a question.
Nkatia Tayum.
Tayon, please, I have a question.
Okay, I'm listening.
My question is like, I open another page and they have, what do you call it? The author there, but they have other contributors. So in that case, are you going to take only the author, or you're going to take the contributors as well?
They have a main author.
Yeah, they have updated dates 5th February 2021. They have written by the author. But when you click on it, it will give you co-authors, co-contributors.
Okay, so it's just like, so you cite the author. But sometimes these things are tricky. When you need to, so how do you call it? You know, there are some write-ups where you take articles or pieces from other contributors and then you put it as a series, all right? When you do that, if you are quoting from a particular one, you can cite that particular, if that's all you are quoting, you can cite that particular author, okay? Because normally they are authors of that particular piece. But then when it comes to the other bibliographic information, you try to rope in the main. So like the title of the one you are citing will be a sub of the main one. I don't know if it's clear. I hope when we get to, I'll get some article like that and then we'll try and see. Okay, so we have 2021. All right. But for this one, as you asked, please cite the main author as is on the web page. Because the idea is to give information that will lead to the source, all right, which is to authenticate whether or not you truly did find the content where you claim you found it. So that's basically what reference and citation seeks to do. Okay, so in this case, we have 2021. So we have our author, we have 2021. So let's go back and input it. Normally I spend time here because it's very, very important for me. So let me put the date first and then we come back, 2021. Now please pay attention here. So we are going to type in the author. So once I click here, you see that I have this syntax up here. It says last name, comma, first names. And then you have another line, last name, first names. Those who have been using it, what do you think it means? Those who have been using Mendeley. When you click and you see this, what have you learned it means?
First author, second author.
Where first author is, which one?
The first one.
The first line.
Yeah, the first line. Yes,
okay, so what it's basically telling you is that if there are multiple authors, don't type all of them on a straight line. So you type the details for the first author, you press enter, get to the next line, enter the next author, even if there are 100, you do that. And then, so I have last name, comma, first names. What does that also mean? Yellow.
The last name of the author, and then first name of the author. That's the first author.
Great. So the system is telling you that I, Mendeley, am the one going to be managing your index and your reference list for you. So this is how I want you to enter the name of the authors so I can cite them properly for you. All right. So don't just type any part of the name. So we are going to type World Bank. Okay. So we have what immediately I started type. You can see this one also down here. Who knows what it means? I like to torment my participant on this so that you don't forget. These are some of the areas that create problems in your reference list. Because once you make a mistake, you send an email, supervisor will call you back. Just imagine you travel down to Ghana and then you say there's some problem with your work. Yes, hello. What do you think this means? This wasn't here. When I typed word band, I think it came. I know some of you have been using it. What does it mean? Hello, don't give up on me now.
Okay, Mr. Eric.
Yes, sir.
Please, the institution means just as you've typed the World Bank, Mendeley is going to see it as such, as a World Bank, like as an institution with the name World Bank, rather than picking the second option. When you pick the second option, Mendeley is going to see it as the first name and second name, the last name and then the first name. So it will give you, when it is citing it, it will take world probably .b as the other name. So just that is how it's going to be.
Great, great. You have demonstrated that you are experienced in naming ceremonies. Very good. All right. So, okay. So this is a question. Thank you so much for that. So Mendeley is asking what you have typed in. Now we all know that when it comes to in-text citation, if I should go back to word for us to see, you can see that we only have Brown and Moore. We have Law. That's someone's name. We don't have the other names. That's what happens. And when we come to the reference list, all right, we have the other names abbreviated. Of course, this is APA, all right? So Mendeley's question is, what you have entered here, is it a name of a person or a corporate organization? Because if it be a person, then it means that the first one is the surname, which I'm going to be using for you on your behalf, all right? Else, if it's a corporate name, then let me know. So you let Mendeley know by clicking on institution/organization. You can see it here. All right. So he's right on point. So once you click on it, you have just told Mendeley that what I've entered is the name of an institution. So please, anytime I cite, present it as a unit and do not break part as a surname and others as first names. Thank you so much. All right. So we are looking for other information that is relevant to Cite. Now, we all know we don't use pages for a web page. We don't use abstract to Cite. We don't use tags to Cite. We don't use keywords to Cite. How about data sets? Is this important? Hello?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, very important. It's very important.
Why do you add very? Why is it very important? Let me know.
Because as a web page, you need to let us know when you access it.
Okay.
Okay, to contribute, I think you addressed that earlier, that being a web page, it's perhaps constantly updated. So you need to specify the date you accessed it. Because the information there may change. Yeah.
Great. All right. So I normally like to say that it is on its own a form of a disclaimer. All right. So what you are saying is that me, this day, that date. Okay, this is what I saw when I went on World Bank's web page. You, the reader, and or my supervisor, should you go there at a later date and did not find it, please, my hands are clean like Pontius Pilate. So that is a disclaimer on its own. So always remember to put the date that you access there. As the contributor said, the page can be taken down or the content can be archived. So what it means is that, let's assume, God forbid it happens to anyone, that someone is called out for plagiarism, okay, or a challenge that the content as presented in your work can never be seen on World Bank's web page. Now, if you do that and you are called and the content has been archived, what it means is that if you are sure, then you can boldly defend yourself. The institution will write to World Bank, then they will activate their web archive and then they will look at it to affirm. But if you didn't put the date, how is your institution able to write to tell World Bank that we want your archive for this particular date, right? That becomes difficult, and then you can be called out for academic dishonesty. Now, assuming that the content of the page we are looking at was written by, let's say, a sub-department of World Bank, then you can put it here. And also, assuming the content was written by someone but posted on World Bank webpage, then you can put World Bank down here. So meaning that World Bank will alternate space, so the author's name would have been here, and because it's on World Bank's webpage, then you put World Bank as an institution here. All right, then we all know we need URL. So my advice is that please never type URL. So you go there, you click in the address bar, you right click, copy or Control-C, then you get back, click inside the URL text box, and then you paste. Please never type URL. Okay, now what about DOI? What does DOI stand for? I know some of you have been using it. What does DOI stand for?
Digital Object Identifier.
Bless you, son. So Digital Object Identifier. Okay, so what does it actually do? What does it actually do? What's its relevance? Now, Digital Object Identifier is mostly used in books and articles anyway. But then, what does it think? What do you think it does? What's the difference between the DOI and then the URL? Those who have been using it. You know, the reason I do this is that sometimes the challenge we have in passing on information or teaching others is because when we get to know how to use something, we don't define the thing to ourselves. So you find a colleague calls you and then say, Charlie, I want to know how to do this. And so do like this, do it like that. Then he asks, why do I have to do that? Then, oh, maybe that's how we do it. You just do it. You know, we do that a lot. Now, the challenge with that is because you, the person, haven't learned how to use it or do it. You never took time to define to yourself or ask yourself why that is the case, the benefits, and then demerits of it. So anytime you are teaching someone, you go like, oh, do it like that. That's how you do it. It will be okay. You do it and submit. Okay. So what is a DOI? You know, what's the difference between DOI and then URL?
All right. For the DOI, I know they are for books and then journal articles. So every journal or books have a unique identifier. So no other book or paper will have such an identification. So when you click or you search for that particular identifier, no other paper apart from what you have should appear. And I think it is unique for every paper. Okay, that is true. So how about between the URL and then the DOI, which one is more preferable if both are available? In your view? Preferable. Why do you say that? The URL may open up a page with different papers which might have different object identifiers. So if you want a particular paper on that URL, then you need to use the DOI. Okay, thank you so much. So you realize that the DOI is just like your passport number, it's just like your student number. So it's a unique identifier, like he's saying. Please, what's your name? I didn't see the speaker. What? John Nelson. John Nelson, okay. All right. So you realize that the whole of the world, if your passport number is mentioned, you are the only one who will respond to it. In your absence, no one else is responding to it, unless, of course, the person wants to do something dubious. All right. So DOIs are more preferable to the URL. So anytime the DOI is available, please add that one. Now, this one, unique benefit. Let's assume you found some article inside Emerald. Let's assume, please mute your mic if you are not speaking. Let's assume you found some material inside Emerald Insights. Okay. Now, let's say for some time, I know JSTOR sometimes archives some of their materials. So if that material is no longer available on Emerald,
but it's available now on JSTOR. If you use a DOI, now DOI also works as the URL. So you can copy a DOI and put the URL address bar and click, it will send you directly to the material. So what it means is that if at some point Emerald Insight takes that material off their content, but the material is inside of JSTOR, when you search for it using it as a URL, it will go straight to that particular material, just like when your ID number is mentioned. All right. So that is why DOI is more preferable, and if it's available, please use that instead of the URL. Okay, and then I'll come back to this. Now we also have other settings. Now this, as we are creating, we are doing this for ourselves, just for purpose of Cite. I told you during the PowerPoint presentation that the articles you search, the one I search, the one everyone has in their account the world over, goes back up to create. Please mute Eric Zemabi. Eric, please mute.
I wanted to find out if the recording will be available. I just missed your presentation on the DOI, but I thought I'd asking you to go back to play the class. So if the recording will be available.
You missed what, the DOI?
Yes, please. Yes.
Oh, don't worry. That's just some few seconds away. We can recap.
The recording will be available after the session, right?
Sure. Okay, so we are just creating bibliographic information on that World Bank webpage that we visited, just so we can cite. All right, it's not some content that we want to share with other Mendeley users. Or let's assume you choose to use Mendeley to back up a copy of your thesis. You want it to be in only your account. If anybody searches, none of any part of the information of it should even be presented. Then you check mark unpublished work, exclude from Mendeley web catalog. All right, so then you check mark this. But for the articles, these are already online, so you don't bother. Now, files. Now, assuming we had this of a particular book, if assuming we're creating this on a book and later you have the e-copy of the book, you can attach it here. But what I normally advise based on previous experience is that when you create this from a web page, please save the web page and attach it to the content. Why do I advise so? Because, there may be time where you need to revisit the web page to correct something. You never know. These things happen, and they normally happen at the deadlines. When you send the work, your supervisor say, no, what you have here is not correct. Go and relook at, go and recheck. That day you realize the internet is not stable. You are checking, and then something may happen. You don't even know how to get access. You probably didn't even save the URL, all right? So what you do is that once you visit the page, please save the page as PDF and attach it. It's one of the reasons why I like using Google Chrome. So let me see, would it work if I start from here? That'll be distorted. So let me just start from here. All right, so you highlight, I think the most relevant is from here to here. All right, so you right click on the highlighted portion, you choose print. Normally, if your PC or system is connected to a printer, you're going to have the printer selected by default. Please pop this arrow down and then choose save as PDF. I do that a lot. So you see by default I have PDF. So choose save as PDF. Now you see that the interview, if it were long, you see that it would have been chronicled very nicely as though it was a normal article. And then you click on save. All right, so you click on save. So you're going to have this saved for you. Then you attach it. What it means is that if at some point you need to go back and check this and the internet is not working, you have this. I normally say that I hardly pray because I believe we do too much prayers because sometimes we don't take precautions. So instead of saving that thing, I always go back to the website. What if the web page, goes blank? Then you are praying to God to reopen the website. Meanwhile, God didn't create that web page. So always take precautions, save the page, any site you visit, copy the URL, make a note of the site you visit so that at a later date, when you want it, you can always go back. So I'm saving this on the desktop just so I can find it. All right, so you save it like this. anytime you do some of this, and believe me, even if it's your lecturer's office, you can edit a file and give it to him right there and then, because you are always ready. And if you have not observed, you always pray when you are not ready. When you have the things on your fingertips, you even forget God is available. So let's take precautions.
Hello, I can't hear anything.
Hello?
Hello, I can't
How about the rest of you? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
How about the rest of you?
Loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear
Please check your sound.
Some of us can hear you.
Please check your sound. Check. Please check the settings on your system. Check the sound settings. Okay. So now that I have it saved, I go to Mendeley, and then you click. You can see there's a faint ad. You click on in there, and then you have a dialog box. You browse to where you saved it. So this is it. Corporate debt develop. Yes, corporate debt in development. Blah blah blah. So I click open, and then you have it attached. All right. Because you never know, and then you click on save. So we have just created bibliographic information about the World Bank. So now let's do the earlier material we used for citing was not correct. So if I go back to Microsoft Word and I want to cite properly, so remember I use this for example, but that is actually not, so this is a web page. So now we need to cite it. So all I do is I put my mouse pointer here, and then okay, so just to check whether you are with me, somebody should take us through how to cite. So I want to cite this piece that we took from the website. Somebody take us through the steps.
Okay, hello.
Hello.
Okay, so you hit the cursor at where you want to cite.
Okay, I'm there.
Then,
thank you, sir.
Then go to insert citation.
I can't find insert citation. So remember we are online. Where can I get insert citation?
Go to reference.
I go to reference. Where is reference exactly?
Reference on your
the menu
toolbar.
On the
okay, so reference on the ribbon in Microsoft Word. Thank you. This is what I meant. You see, so once you do this to yourself, if somebody call you on phone, you can always teach them, and I mean, they won't ask you to repeat because you do the right thing. Okay, so I go to reference on the ribbon. Please continue.
Okay, then you click on insert citation.
So insert citation under reference. Yes, sir. Yeah. What next, please?
Then go to Mendeley.
Okay, so I can click on go to Mendeley. All right. Okay, and then I choose the file. Okay, but this is the one we are looking for. So I have it selected. What do I do next?
Then you go to Cite. Cite
on the toolbar. Great. Okay, Mendeley that's on the toolbar. So I click on Cite. Thank you so much, sir. I'm very grateful.
Welcome.
So I have my in-text citation. Let's check the reference list, what's happening there. So it's down there. Okay. So you see the bibliographic information we created, all right? So when you do this, you save yourself stress, all right? So because it's W, so it has to be the last. If it were B something, it would have sorted it up here. Okay. So let me get back. So that's how to add content into our account. And I've just mentioned that add entry manually you use for a web page. You can use that to create a bibliographic information about a manual or physical book. You can use that for a video, any other content at all right? Even if it's an audio you listen to and transcribed, all right? You can create a bibliographic information about it and use it to cite. Okay. So we are moving on to folders. I mentioned earlier that the software gives you the chance to be able to create folders to manage your content. Now, if you look at this, I have a lot of folders. Many of them are junk though that I use for training, but the real ones that I use. So for instance, this one stands for Distance Education and Electronic Learning. It's a course I took. Now I realize that I have subfolders in there. Okay, And for each of the subfolders that I have, when I click, you have content populating. So these are articles that I use for this course. All right. And then I click on this one too. These are articles that I use. What it means is that if I meet anybody running this course, I can share these things with them. All right. And I did that whilst on the course. So let's look at how to create folder and add content. Okay. So to create a folder, you either click on folder up here, or right there at the bottom, you can see create folder. So once you click on create folder, the spot gets highlighted. Don't waste time deleting. Okay, so you start typing straight away. So what's that? Let me see. Am I even correct? Is it a G? Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So let's assume this is the name I want to give the folder, all right? That is it. Then I press enter. So the folder has been created. Okay. So once I have, so the white interface I'm looking at here is inside of the folder. Now, how do I add content to the folder? You do that by following the steps that we went through. So once I have it open, just like the way we do on the desktop, once I have it open, then I can go to file, go to add, click on add files, and then follow through to, let's see if I want to add this and that, then I click on open. So that's it. I have the two files inside the folder right now. Oh, I selected only one. Okay. If I want to add more, the same vein. Or if I want to do drag and drop, then I can. So assuming I want to add folder from this to that, what I do is I open this one, click, hold, and then drag. You can see I have it in my grip. Then I put it on this one like that. All right. So that's it. So you see I have it here. So you can either go to add, or if you are dragging from one folder. So the fact that you move from one folder to the other doesn't mean you lift it. It's just a shadow copy. So it's here and it's still in this one as well. But it's not duplicate. No, just note that. Okay, now that we are done. So if you look at the example I gave you, I have a parent folder for the program, distance education and electronic learning. Then I have subfolders for the individual courses. All right. So in the same vein, let's assume what I have here is the name of a program. Then how do you create a subfolder? So you right click on the parent folder, right click like this, and then you choose new folder. So you can see straight away it's indented. All right. Then I can have maybe, I don't know your course names, and I can type Chinese. So DCO, let's say 325. Let's assume that to be a course name. That's it. So I've created a folder. If I need to create a sub of this, let's assume I have an assignment, 2 or 3 assignments, and I want to separate the content. You right click on it, you choose new, just that, and then you have them indented. So once you do that, the benefit is that you can always find the files. Now, if you look at this, I was writing a paper with my former boss, and then these were the content that I downloaded for that. So you realize that I still have them, and this is way back, I think 2015. Okay, so you can always have them, and anytime you need to fall back on them, you can find them. So this is how to create a folder. Okay, and then we're going to look at how to create a group. How to create a group. Now I mentioned that you can create a group to be able to share content. So if you have a group project or an assignment, you don't need to be sharing the files on WhatsApp, crowding your WhatsApp space and all that. So you create a group. So to create a group, you can see groups here. You move down and then you click on create group. Now, until December this year, Mendeley used to have public group and invite only, but now they have collapsed these two. So what you see, those who have just downloaded. So I need to update mine. You only see private group. So you choose private and then you click, you give it a name. All right. You give it a name. So let's say group assignment 2. All right. If there needs to be a description about it, you put your description there and then you click on create. Now you can immediately invite group members at the first instance of creation. If you don't do that, then if you need to invite them at a later date, then you need to do that from Mendeley web. So when we get online, I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to skip this, and then that is the group we have created. It's reading. Now everything we are doing here, you can see the system reading. So it's synchronizing. When we go online, you see that all this is the folder and everything about it. You see that copies are available on my web space. So meaning that if I left this machine and I join you in China, I don't need to carry my laptop. When I come, I go and see the rich ones of you there, and then you buy me a new one. I just sign in and that's it. Okay, so that's basically how to create a group, how to create a folder. Now, those are some of the tools you use to sort your content to save you time. So when you click on all documents, all right, every single item, regardless of the folder in which it is housed, will populate. All right. Then recently added will show you only the ones. So you can say that it's showing only the ones we worked on today. Recently read, the ones that you've been reading for quite some few periods, the articles that you've made favorite, maybe you are using them and you intend to, you have interest. So if you look at this title, say, they say, I say, the moves that matter in academic writing. So you can see the reason why I made it a favorite, right? They say, I say, the moves that matter in academic. You can look for it and all right, and then you can look at the ones that needs to be reviewed, your publication, yeah, the ones that, so unsorted ones just refer to articles in your account that are not in folders. That's what unsorted means. And then the ones that are, so last week I was in a session with computer science graduate student here in UG, so these were exercises that we're doing, and then all of these, all right, so you click and then you can sort them out. Okay, so when after creating a group, so let me use this. So this is a group I created in which I have some research method books. Okay, so you see this like this, and then you have your content you can share with people. So if I go to online, I'll show you some of the group members. These days you can't see the group members on the desktop, but when you go online, you can see that. Okay, so that's basically Mandalay Desktop and Citation. Now, before we go online, let's do how to do multiple citation. So let's go to Word. So assuming we have some content here, all right, and then, you know, by the time you do multiple citation, what you are basically saying is that you have a piece of text to which multiple authors subscribe to, not directly, but the idea in their articles or books, all right, in some way are in tandem with what you are putting across. Then you try to bring them all in. So let's assume this is an example of such a piece. So then we need to cite all the authors who we think agree, are in agreement with it. So then we go to insert citation. Now, you can search the authors. Now we have been doing go to Mendeley. You can also type their name if you know them. Normally you will know because you would have been reading the article whilst writing. So let me do a T. Then the system will sort out whilst you are typing the name. So let's do, let me choose this. All right. So while this spot is still highlighted, then you keep typing the names. All right. Then you keep typing the names. So I want to cite, let's say 3 people. All right, you keep typing the names and choosing. So I have 3 people now. Now remember we have, I think about 3 or 4 reference. So then I click on insert. Now that is it. So that's multiple citation. All right. So now if you go into the reference, you see it's populating. So you don't, when you hit your last full stop, as I keep saying, your reference list is done, and all you do is submit your work. Now, if we also go to, you can also do it this way. Now remember that, yes, sir. Yeah, I'm listening.
Can you go over them? Can you please go over the multiple citation again?
Yes, I'm going over in a different way. So thank you. All right. So you can also.
Your screen is not sharing anymore. If you can check for us.
Please, is that Is it the same with everybody?
No, we are she. I'm seeing it.
We can see
You've
it.
seen everything.
We can see
And because
it.
the system says I'm sharing.
Okay, I've seen it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so you can also do this. So I have the piece here, then I go to insert citation. Now, instead of searching the names, I can also go. Now, you remember some of the names may be in different folders. So you can also click on go to Mendeley. Then, assuming I want to cite, what's that, my cousin? Is it Faberman? So I click on it. Then you hold down Control on your keyboard. All right, I want to cite Cohen. I want to cite Miles. I want to cite Frankel and Wallen. All right, so you select them whilst you have Control pressed down your keyboard. Then once I'm done, you click on Cite. All right, so this is also another way of, and then also you can, assuming you are the one who like to do them one after the other. So let's say I have this piece of text, you go to Insert Citation, go to Mendeley. So I go into this folder and then I choose this one, Insert Cite. Whilst the cursor is still blinking, I go back into Insert Citation, go to Mendeley, I go to another folder, and then I choose Ethical Dilemma, Scenarios and Emerging Technologies. I click on Cite. All right, you see they are grouped differently. You can see that they have their own individual brackets. So I go back and then I go to Mendeley, another folder, Digital Divide. I choose Batch, I click on Cite. Now I have 3, but they are not combined. Because multiple citations is supposed to have a single bracket. So what you do is that you highlight all of them like this. And immediately I did that, you can see that Insert Citation has changed to Merge Citation. Let me click outside. You see originally it's Insert Citation. So once you highlight, it says Merge, then you click on Merge. Then that's it. So that's how you do multiple citation. Benjamin, I hope you are okay.
Yes, I'm good.
All right, okay. So thank you. So that's how we do multiple citation. And also I mentioned the issue of highlighting and annotation. So assuming I'm reading this article, so I double click, let's say Ousu Ansan. So I double click inside Mendeley and then it opens. So it opens in tabs. So you can see my library is here. So I can open another article like this. So they open, sorry, it doesn't have the PDF. So this one. So it opens in tabs. So you can open as many as you want whilst you work. All right. And then you read. So the way it is, you can see I've gone through this article, maybe for, so this development, I think this was during one of my training. So you highlight it like this. All right. You go through. So assuming we found this piece to be instructive, don't gloss over, highlight it. All right. Then you can highlight and annotate. So you can see highlight this text. I click here and then you write some descriptor, maybe to be used in the, let's say in chapter 3. All right. Once you click outside. So anytime you get here, say, why did I highlight this? Then you click on the annotation. You can see why. And then you can now look at it critically and be able to fuse it where you thought you were going to. All right. So don't read the article, gloss over them when you're looking for a piece. Because you always know your area of interest. You know what interests you once you come across them. All right. Highlight them, make them favorites. Then looking for them. You see, I have a folder called favorite that I've made favorite. So then anytime you go there, you see that the content in there excites you. So that's about highlighting and annotation. I think that should be it for Mandalay Desktop. And then the other thing, there are times I know JSTOR has that problem. You know, we have our references in here and we feel they are correct because almost everything, so you can see this one has a DOI, almost everything inside Mendeley is correct. There are instances when you attract the content, the dates may be wrong. If you need to correct the date, let's assume later we found out that this piece that we put here from World Bank, what is it? World Bank, the date should have been 2020. Please don't edit it from here. Okay, the date, you see this, that's what the reason why you click and they are highlighted because they are links from Mendeley. So you go to Mendeley and then you go to your library and look for, so all documents, What is it? So let me go to recently added. So World Bank, click on it, and then you change the date from here, 2021 to 2020. Now click outside. So once I come back to Microsoft Word, where is it? See, it's still 2021. Then I click on refresh. So refresh is synonymous to when you close a file and open it. So as you are tired, you close to work later. So I refresh. You see, it's changed to 2020. So if you don't do that and you change it in Word, when you close the file or you send your supervisor and they open it, it will change to the wrong data again. So when you need to edit any part, be it the reference list, maybe a DOI or anything, please go to Mendeley, get to the part that you want to edit, all right? And then assuming it's a DOI, normally it will not be wrong, but maybe this was not there and you found it. Get here and then enter it instead of trying to enter it into Word. Because if you do and you refresh, it will get back wrong. Okay. Yeah, so I think we are fine with Mandalay Desktop. We're going to go to Mandalay Web. So if there are questions, you can ask.
Please, I have a question.
Please ask, Mr.
Because my
Angetia.
question is sometimes maybe you used to cite inter citation though, but you want to use the number system. How do Mendeley also go by that?
Okay, so so those are dependent on the reference standards. What standard are you? So you see, I've selected APA. Thank you so much for the question. I will probably have forgotten that. So you see, the styles are here. Okay, so you click inside this arrow, pop it down, and then choose the style. So one of the numbering styles is Vancouver, the ones you normally see. So this and Vancouver, they have various ones. This is superscript. So I click on superscript. Now I see what will happen. Now you see this has changed to 2. All right, and then we have 3 here. Okay, you can see this one didn't change. I need someone to tell me why. So there was a reference here. So it means that this is supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 to 7 because this was multiple citation, and then 8 to. So now this is what you see in the books. All right. So someone tell me why didn't this one change?
Hello.
Yeah, the magicians. Yes, Mr. Colin Safo.
Hello.
Mr. Safo, I'm listening. Yeah, I can hear you.
I think it's because we edited.
Yeah, because you edited it out.
I said I think it's because we edited that.
Thank you, Collins and Atchison. Thank you. So it's because we edited it. So how do we revert it? So to get it back, now I'm going to click outside. So once you click on it again, all right, you see undo. Okay, so you click undo. So we have just undone the manual edit. So you see it's changed to 1, 2, 3, 4. So please don't forget, this thing, as small as it is, it cost one PhD candidate to be looking for me for days because he sent an article to a journal and then they said they were using Vancouver instead of APA. And he took his time, because I taught him to change automatically, he did that. And the ones that he manually edited will not change, you know. So he had to come calling and then he booked, and he couldn't tell the problem. So he had to book an appointment, we met, and then it was just a click of a button. Now, the other thing is that if you go there in yours, you probably may not see Vancouver superscript, assuming you need to use it. So what you do is that you go to more styles. So you click on more styles, all right? And then once at more styles, you can go through. So if you find it here, then so this is Vancouver superscript. So you click on it and you say use this style, then it will be added to the ones that you normally use. When you come here and you don't also find it, please click on get more styles. And then if you know the name of the style you want, then you type it in here to search. There is no standard that you will not find. So that's how to get more of the styles and also how to change from one reference style to the other. It's just by the click of a button. So you come here, if it is Chicago manual, you just click, and then it affects the reference as well. So you can see that APA and Chicago, they have the indent style. Let me change back to Vancouver, see the reference list. So you see the way it doesn't use the indent, and then also see it doesn't have the year after the, after the surname, all right? And then you can see that the year is down here, and then it comes with a month and all that. So why would you have to remember all these things? Okay, when the women are using the blender and you want to struggle yourself, all right, you want to stress yourself, please. So just by the click of a button, you have your styles changed. All you need to do is that be sure that the bibliographic information inside of Mendeley is correct. So once you are working and adding, and once in a while you browse, you click, and then you look at the details just to be sure everything is correct and you are fine. And then we were having a discussion on the what do you call it, the DOI. Now, one of the benefits of DOI, so we have needs review. Now, needs review are articles that Mendeley thinks that their bibliographic details are not correct. Okay, so, or let's use this example. Assuming I give you the DOI of an article, instead of going to the internet to go and look for it, just open manual edit. Come here, choose manual edit, and then enter. Just instead of typing the details and all that, just scroll straight down to the so let me to this place and paste it. So let me go and copy this. Let me copy this, just for example, and then I go back. Assuming this is not in our record, you go back and then add entry manually. Instead of typing all the records, you scroll down, you click in the DOI text box, you paste the DOI, and then you click on the lookup like this. You can see that is populated. Nothing was here. It's brought the URL where the article can be found. See, the cyber security, the title, the date, everything has been populated. So the DOI has a target to the material regardless of its location on the internet. So you see, it's only the DOI I put. Instead of, I normally would have had to type, choose the type, enter the title, enter the author's name, the journal that published, and all these details. But once you come here, you put the DOI, and then you click on lookup. It will go online and fetch all the details for you. So if you look at it, you realize that that's some of the benefits of the DOI. This is why it is more, kind of recommended than the URL, because it serves as a direct target to the source document, regardless of location or even where you found it the first. Yeah. Any other questions whilst we switch online?
Hello.
So we are going to
Mendeley
Web. Yes, please ask away.
Yeah. So, for example, if you are working on a paper, and then you send a paper to a friend to read through for you, and then your friend comes across a particular reference that he or she wishes to add to your work, can your friend go ahead to do it, even though he or she didn't build your original library?
Yes, it will work. So if the person is using Mendeley, but then the challenge will be that he would have to have your sources. Do you get what I'm saying? The articles that you used, if you send it to him, the articles you have in your account will not delete. On the file that you shared with the person will not be deleted. The challenge will be the sorting, like when he has to maybe do some more citations. Then if he doesn't have the sources in his account, like these ones as I have, if he doesn't have that, then it means that it will be difficult for Mendeley to be sorting them. Okay. So for instance, if I need to share this, let's say I finish it, I need to share this with somebody, I can export it without Mendeley. Okay. So you see, without Mendeley fields. So if I send to him like this, then it's going to be like somebody who typed the reference list without using Mendeley. So if you want to share a file with somebody who's not using Mendeley, do it like this. Then in that case, the sorting and everything will remain like that, and they can choose which part to make space and add other sources. Or what it means is that you could create a group and then share the resources that you use for the project with him. So once he has access to that group, then when he is citing or adding more citation, it should be able to link to it and then also be able to sort. The challenge will be in the reference list, not the index that he will be putting. I hope that helps.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, and so with the, please, I'm listening.
Okay, please, how do you link the reference in the main in the body of your thesis to the reference list?
How do you link it?
Yes, yeah, how do you link it? For
so
instance,
you
there are
are
some papers when you click the citation in the paper, it will just bring you direct to the reference list. So I want to know how you link it to.
Oh, those ones are done by the publishers.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. Sorry. Let me comment. I think it is a different
Activity.
way of
Yeah.
doing it.
Yes, you can
Yeah,
also
it is a
do it
different
using the. I think that option is under. Cross-reference in Mendeley, where you can cross-reference some aspect of, but it's a whole activity on its own. What's that option? It's is it under view? No, it should be under insert. So meaning that you need to be clicking on it. All right, you need to be clicking on the individual. I see link. Okay, so that's a whole activity on its own. So assuming I want to link this to that, then you need to click and then you go to link and then follow suit. Okay, so you can try that. So like linking various parts of the work to other parts. So you see, look at these options. So I'll leave that for you to take your time to practice that. Okay, but that is normally in the articles and the books, they are normally done by the publishers when they are doing the typesetting.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a question in the chat box. Can you please look at it?
Okay. Can you read it out to me since you are looking at it? Read it out to us.
It's kind of complex, but I'll try. It said, if I copy my page or script with citations to another word page, would the citations follow? Or
yes, of course.
Or if I cut and paste on another page, would the citations follow? Secondly, can I move citations from one place to the other within, and would the citations move alongside?
Okay, you are right by saying it's complex. Now, the first part is when you copy, you see, Mendeley is on the PC. It is not in Word. So once you are using a PC that has Mendeley with all the resources added into it, any text with references, it will work. Let's say when you copy and paste in any other page at all, they will work. I don't know if you want us to. Sometimes when I get these questions, I like to try it live so that if it's a lie, we all see the lie, so we don't wait for Judgment Day. So let me open new. All right, and then I paste. So this is a new file that I pasted. Now this is it. You can see the references are here. So the question now, you have your answer. All right, the reference list are here. This is a new file I just copied and pasted. The in-text are also there. If I change from one reference to the other, let me go back to APA. Please make sure you are properly signed into Mandalay Desktop. Try starting Mandalay Desktop. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know where this challenge, I may have to recheck on this. But I can see copying and pasting, the references are here, the reference list. Okay, and then the second part was when you can change. Now, I don't know what he means by changing from one place to the other, but depending on the standard you are using, so for some standards, they are numbered, for some, they are alphabetically arranged. Now, you see that these ones, sorry, let me go back to our original file. Okay, you see this in Vancouver. Let me go back to APA. Okay, so APA is supposed to sort by alphabetically. It's supposed to sort alphabetically. So that's what it will do. But I don't know if your question has to do with the in-text. For the in-text, if you cite the same, the reference list will populate only once. Let's assume we cite the same author. If I copied this, let's assume I copied something else in his work. Let's assume this is what I've copied from the same article. If I come back here and cite it, it's possible. So it's here and it's there because the content are from the same article or book. But the reference list will populate only once. it will be only one. So I hope that answers the question. Is there any other before I move?
Yes, the last one.
Okay.
So I want to expand on this very point. For instance, you've done a proposal. You want to, copy most of the portions of the introduction to the main work. And you realize you started the references and the Mendeley automatically populates. But here is the case. Perhaps you did it with a manual Google Scholar. You go to the code, you copy and paste, and then you copy your work, the portions, onto the work you want to do. How would the transition be? Do you need to copy the files into Mendeley?
I don't think it will be as smooth a transition as that between President Rawlings and Kufuor, but it's worth doing. So if you look at what we have done so far, you realize that we start the work with, and then we type, we cite, and then they populate the reference list. What it means that because the content are already inside Mendeley, that is why it is. Remember, I told you that what we are, the citations we have, they are not resident in Microsoft Word. They are resident in Mendeley. So what it means is that for the portion, so let's assume, let me go online, and well, I hope you guys don't get tired on me because I'm the one talking. Okay, so sometimes I get into training, they ask so much questions, and then later they say they are tired. Let's close. So let's assume this is the introduction part that you said you have copied, all right, and you are going to now add to the work. So when you come here and you paste, if this content has some manual citation, now because those, so let's assume we have here we have sorry, according to Amwafo, let's say 2016, all right, bracket close. Then you come back somewhere here, you say, and then you put into brackets, let's say John's Atta, all right, 2020, bracket close. So when it's like this, you need a comma here for APA. All right, so you have like this. You see that these are also in-text citations. But when you go to the references, we don't have them. All right. So what you need to do is that the articles that you read, assuming, let's take that these are articles. What you are going to do is that you are going to add the articles into Mendeley. When you add them to Mendeley, then now you come to Word. Sorry. You come to Word, and then you see this reference here because it's manual. That's why it's not populating. Then you delete it. All right. While the cursor is there, we are assuming that you have now added that particular article. So then you go to Insert Citation, go to Mendeley, then you look for it. Let's assume this is it. All right. Let me search. I don't know if I have. I think I created something with my name. No, I even have. So let's go here. So if I click on this, okay, and then I insert, okay, so this is Bedu and Amwafo. So once I have deleted it, I have added the article in my account and I recited it. When I go back to the reference list, now I have it, Bedu. So this is it, all right. So this is what I meant by it will not be a smooth transition, meaning that you need to delete them one after the other. So you come back here, what's the other one? Jack, where are you? Oh, there. Okay, this is it. Okay, so you come back here, delete this one. So that's be the other, hard work that you may have to do. But then once you do it, you realize that it will be worth your while. So you click on them, and then you, my friend, give me something to say. What's happening? Okay, so I go to insert citation, sorry, and then I choose something. All right, then I cite. Okay, so once you do that, it will be populating. So that's it. I hope you're fine. So that is why we advocate that start using it the moment you start the work. Otherwise, this is what you will have to do. Because Mendeley has to be in the know of the articles, the content. It has to have the articles within the software before it can automatically populate the reference list. Now, the ones that you type in manually, it means that you yourself will later have to come maybe here, create space, all right, and fit them in there. Now, once you do that, anytime you refresh or close the web, let's assume I do this. So, Amwafo 2016, blah, 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 all right. So let's assume I do this. Because I type this manually, look at this. I'm going to refresh my reference. You see, it's gone. Because the references as you have here, they are not resident in Word. They are links from Mendeley. So that's the reason why you need to start every project work right from the onset. Barring the challenges, do it, call a friend, go online. I've shown you where to get Mendeley tutorials. If you want to call me on WhatsApp, I'm okay, you know. All right. So that's it. Let's share the rest of the questions. Let's go online. When we finish, then we can use the rest to answer the rest, the stress to answer the rest, and then we can close. Okay. So we are going to Mendeley Web.
Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
sir. Hello.
Yeah. Please. I joined this class quite late, around 1:47. I missed quite a substantial part of it. Now that you are going to Mendeley Web, I'm sure that it's not going to be quite different from what you did on the desktop. So can we follow closely as we are also using our internet and then?
Oh, of course you can follow.
Laptop.
You can follow,
Right,
and the recordings will made available to you. So.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You're
Please,
welcome.
are you on University of Ghana? Are you on University of Ghana campus, and where can we find you?
Oh, are you not in China? Yes, I'm in University of Ghana campus, but I thought I was speaking to a Chinese.
No, please.
Anyway,
I joined.
Yeah, I know some of you have joined. Yeah, from the link. Okay, so I work in the University of Ghana.
Okay.
I work in the University of Ghana.
I'm on campus here, MPhil students. So I want to locate you so that I can have some tutorial.
MPhil, which department?
Center for Climate Change and Sustainable Development.
All right, so I need to sort you out quickly before you change my climate. Okay, that's fine. So let's sort that out later. Okay, so let's go online. So Mendeley Online, as I mentioned, is like logging into your cloud interface. All right. So you go to www.mendeley.com. All right, mendeley.com. And then you sign in. I think I already signed in earlier. So please, if you are following practically on your own PC, please refresh. Your system may have signed you out. So refresh and then re-sign in. Okay, so this is my web interface. Now, what we are going to do here, we're a bit different from the desktop. So we are going to look at how to search and also how to attract content directly into our account and then synchronizing to make it available on the desktop. Just very briefly, within some 15 minutes, and you can go and have your lunch if you haven't done so alongside, whilst punishing me to keep talking. Okay, so we have this, the interface. Now I told you that Elsevier owns Mendeley, they own Science Direct, they own Scopus. So meaning that you can even start your search right here, and you can get content from Elsevier, Science Direct, and Scopus, and all the other database that they own. Now search, if we come to search, I want to introduce the tabs before we zoom in. So you come to search, that's basically the interface we are on. And then when you come to groups, so let me open a new link. You come to groups, So Mendeley used to have a lot of tabs, feed and all that. So those of you used to use it for some time back, they collapsed a lot of it because they found that they were not quite useful to academics. So they retired a few of them. Okay, so when I go to groups, so groups shows the various groups that you belong to, all right, groups that you have joined. Some of these I joined when they used to run the public groups, all right, so you go there and then get some knowledge from people. So I mentioned this research method group that I created. So you can see when I click on it, I have 26 members in there. So all of them are able to see the content I have in there. Okay, so overview. And then once you are here, if you need to invite members to a group, this is what you do. So you click on the group to open online, and then you click on invite members. All right, invite members, and then you are able to invite them. Okay, so that is how to. The guy who just spoke from University of Ghana, can you give your student email, just for example? Read your student email for me.
Please, are you there?
I am here, of course. I'm here. Okay, anyway, it looks as if he's having a challenge, so let's move on. You can...
An Outlook mail, is it possible?
An alternate?
Outlook.
Outlook, or if it's the email that you use for your... for your Mendeley. Okay.
KWA.
Now, the group, do you have need for the content in the group? Because they are basically on humanities. Are you a science student or humanities?
No, humanities.
Okay, so then that's fine. Then they'll be useful to you. Okay, so please read. KWA.
MOAT.
MOAT.
181.
181. Sorry, 1.
Yeah, at outlook.com.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Can
sir.
I type my email to you? Yeah, I'm the University of Ghana student. Can I type my email in the chat for you?
Let's do that later. Let's do that later.
All right.
So I have one, for example. So please please check if the email I have on screen is correct. Okay. So then if you have to invite multiple people, you can copy the email and just paste, and then click on. But when you are doing multiple, it will ask you to verify using the captcha prompt. So invite. So it says I failed captcha. I don't know. I think it was coming before I saw. So when that happens, please just take it off and then type it again and then invite. Still failing. And you're off. Okay. Okay, let me just cancel this and then redo. So I paste and invite. All right, so that's it. So you have been invited. So you get an invite inside of the mail. So say your group invitation was successful. So you have to log into that email and then accept the invite. Then you get access to the content of the group. All right, so that's how to add group. If you want to look at group members, these are the group members. So what I do is that people who have need of the resource, sometimes I add them, and then after some years, I take them off, add new members. And then these are the only want to see the content, okay, the content of the group. So those who are in the group, anytime you also find some material that is useful, all right, then you can also put it there. Something on research method, okay, that's not already in there, then you can put it in there. So these are some of the content, sampling, estimate, and size, all right, material, blah, blah, blah. And then I have some books, social research method, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you can have those contents in there. So that's about the groups. And then you're going to library. So your library is basically like your Mandalay Desktop interface. So if you look at this, If I go back online, you see that when it opens, the interface is basically the same. All right. So only that you don't write and cite here when you're writing and citing. So I mentioned the issue of the synchronizing. So what did we do whilst we were on the desktop? So if I choose recently added, you should see the content that we just created. So you can see it's syncing. It should have done that already. So World Bank, okay, this was in a different training. Should be the one we created, should be somewhere here. Let me see, recently read, recently added, solution. Did I put them? Okay, so where's our folder? So I created a folder. Let me see. No reference in this folder, no. Which, okay, this is a group. This is a group. I didn't put anything in the group. Collection. What name did we give the folder? And then that's it. But I remember we put some, oh, we didn't put anything. I put some things in there. Supposed to appear. And then the group. Okay. I know the prophets online will answer why. But whatever you add, once you come to all references, they're supposed to show. So let me sort by dates added. No, none of the content is showing. Then this happens these days. Okay, so we'll look at that later. But anything you add, so you can see that the folder is showing, meaning that the content should be in. All right, we created this folder was on the desktop. This group was on the desktop. And then we also created a group. What name did I give the group? Was it the same? I think I didn't save it. Okay. So once the folder is showing, means that everything, so it's synced. So every content that we created is supposed to be online. So let me search just to be sure. Let's say World Bank. World Bank. These are last week. I wonder why today's one is not coming.
Sir, but can you show us how to create the folder using the
okay, so it's in now. It's in now. It's in now. So recently added. So they are here. World Bank supports first. No. What was the concern? What was you saying?
I'm saying probably you didn't sync your desktop. That's why you are not finding it here. No,
I did. That's why the group is here. You can see the Zhenjiang. How do you pronounce it?
Zhenjiang.
Zhenjiang.
Okay. Can you possibly go back to your desktop, sync it, then
and synchronize? Okay. So I'm doing that. So I've clicked on sync. All right. So what's the syncing? Because once this folder is in, means that there was a sync. And especially anytime you open the page fresh, it has to sync by itself. Okay. All right. So that is the library account. So once you click, yes, hello. You click,
Sir,
you see the content.
How to create a folder here?
How to create a folder here? Yeah, okay, so the same, the same way. You see new collection. So here instead of folder, I have new collection. All right. So if I type let's say Kweku. All right. So that's it. So that is it. So this Kweku. All right. So that's how to create. So you go down there instead of folder on the desktop. When they updated, I have not installed a new one. So that's why my desktop, I've intentionally done that. My desktop is different. So once you click here, then you can type the name. So don't waste time. You click here. Once the highlighter is open and you see the cursor, just type the name. All right. So that's it. Are you okay?
All right. All right. All right. Yeah.
And then, and then also, let's assume you get into a lab and you don't have your PC with you, and somebody gives you articles on, let's say, pen drive. You can sign in. If there's a PC there, you can sign in online and then click on Add New. All right. And then you say Files from Computer. You see that? Then you click on that. Then you can browse onto that pen drive. Okay. Browse onto the pen drive and select the content, meaning that this time you are adding them online. Then when you go home or to school and you find your own laptop, then you synchronize. You get a trick. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Wonderful.
Okay. All right. So let's go to the main reason I brought you here. So that's the search, how to search, and then the groups, and then where to find groups, and then your library, which we have just looked at. Now, I want you to, I mentioned that what's online, instead of downloading articles, you can straight away import them or export them directly into your library without downloading. Now, to do that, you need to install what is known as the web importer. Now, it's here, Mendeley web importer onto your browser. Okay, it's one of the reasons why I said the most favorite browsers are Mozilla and Firefox. I don't know the browser situation in China, but so when you do it like this, so I'm going to take mine off. I already have it installed. So let me just demonstrate. So I'm going to sciencedirect.com, University of Ghana, subscribe to Science Direct. And I'm going to type, search for, let's say, funding research. Then I search, press enter to search. So these are the search results, okay? The Matthew effect and the halo effect in research funding. So normally, if I wanted this article, I have to click on download. And then I go through, get a personalized search experience, and I check mark it, all right? Check mark it, and then, or you download them, sorry. But when you don't want to do that, so assuming I don't have my laptop, but I'm in a lab and I'm using the lab's PC, instead of getting this on a pen drive, what I do is that I go to the web importer and then I click on it. So this is my Mendeley web importer. So I click on it, and then it's going to capture the content on this interface. So it's asking me to sign in. So I click on sign in because I know I've signed in. Just confirming. So asking for my password, like it doesn't trust me. All right, so let me just enter again. Okay, so I sign in again. Right, so now, so it's reading. So it's going to capture the content. That's it. So you see it has the content captured, and then you can see this one, checking for PDF. So the ones that comes with a PDF, the system will capture. So what it means is that I want to look at what this actually means in future. So I check mark it, all right? The Matthew effect and halo effect in research funding. So I go through. So this is Mendeley's, what do you call it, tool. This is a web importer. And this is the database interface. So instead of downloading, I have this captured, and then I scroll through, assuming I want this. I check mark it, and then I go through looking at the title. And then if I want this National Institute of Health, blah, 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 grant, if I want, I check, see the PDFs are there. Then you don't just add them, you can also add them directly into a folder. Remember, we created folders. So let me find the one that we created. What's the name? We have okay, so this is it. And then I check mark it. All right. And then I add. So I'm not just adding it into my Mendeley account. I'm sending them, I'm exporting them directly into my account and into this folder. So I click on add. So you can see checking. All right, so it's a PDF check, reference list check. So it means it's gone. What's the other ones? Yeah, PDF check, reference list check. Okay. So am I sure they went? You know, I am a descendant of Thomas, so I like to be sure. So when I come here, all I need to do is be under all, and then I refresh the page. Right? I refresh the page. Refresh my library page. And then I also come to my desktop and synchronize. That's how you get them downstream. So that is it. So National Institute of Health, blah, blah, grant. The Matthew, and then this one too, I selected 3. The Matthew effect and the Halo effect in research funding. So these are the 3 I just added. So I have this in my account now. So that is how to attract content. So meaning that if you found yourself somewhere and you have a PC to use, you don't have a pen drive, you don't worry about writing the titles to go and search. You can sign in online, send them into your account. When you go get home, then you can sign in on the desktop and then synchronize. So if I come here too, I should have them. So you can see they are coming. They are being downloaded. Okay, so how do you add the web importer? So I'm going to take mine off. Yeah. I'm going to remove mine and then we do it again. So I come here and then remove from Chrome. Come on. All right. Okay, so it's gone. So whilst on this page, you scroll down, all right? Whilst on the search home page, you scroll down and you see web importer. So you click on web importer. What we are doing is that we are attaching the tool that will enable us to attract articles and ebooks from a database or a book vendor's webpage onto our account, be it the book itself being there or the bibliographic information. Okay, so the guy who earlier asked if you finish the work and you bring some part of it and you want to cite, what you can do is that if you didn't have the bibliographic information, you can use Web Importer to search for them in Google Scholar and add them to your account. So click on Web Importer and then you see, because I'm using Chrome, it's already selected Chrome, so I click on it from here. If you are using Mozilla, it will select Mozilla. Or if it gives you the chance to choose the browser, then you do so. Okay.
I'm using
then once
Firefox,
so it did select Firefox, right? Didn't it select
please,
Firefox?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes,
so once
good.
Browser. Thank you. So once you get here, then you choose Add Chrome, Add to Chrome, Add to Chrome, Add to Chrome. So it's an add extension. So it may or maybe slightly different from Firefox. So just look around the screen and respond to the prompt. So add extension. You can see it says checking. Normally it will download the plugin and then install it by itself. So don't worry about the download and where it goes. So it's just checking. When it's done, you see it up here.
All right, sir.
So mine is installed. Yes, what's your question?
Yeah, mine is also installed, but I'm saying something like allow this extension to run in private windows. What does that mean?
To run in private windows?
Yes. If I would, would allow or not.
Okay, so for instance, let me, so look on the screen, look on my screen. So when I come up here,
Sure.
do you know what this is? New incognito window. Do you know what it does?
No, please.
So when you want to browse and you don't want the browser to store history, then you can come to incognito window. So when you close the browser, it doesn't save password, it doesn't save anything. So normally when you open a browser, this is what it gives you, which is why when you begin to type, it reminds you of what you typed previously. But when you don't want the browser, if you are using someone's PC, it's good to go incognito so that it doesn't record anything you type. So that's what it means. It's want to find out if it should run on such situations. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, so it's added. So now what do we do? Now that we have so this mine is been, you saw me delete it. Now it's installed again. I believe those who are also trying to have theirs installed. Let me close some of these things and so this is a home. All right. So so that's how to install it. I've already demonstrated, but I'm going to use Scholar. I'm going to use Google Scholar to also demonstrate. So I've just used Science Direct to do that. So scholar.google.com. Do you get Scholar in China?
Yes, under VPN.
Okay. All right. So adolescent health in Ghana. So if I want to, let's say I search this. So these are the results in Scholar. All right. So you can see some of them comes with a PDF. So PDF. So if I want it, normally you would have clicked to download. So what I do is that I go to my plugin. I have a lot of plugins. That's why I need to click to see them. If you don't have a lot, you normally see it up here among these few ones. So this is a plugin icon. So you click to open the list, and then I choose Mendeley Web Importer. It's still asking me to sign in again. That's by our long-standing relationship, but that's fine. So I click on it. So it's reading. It's trying to capture and then pick the PDFs, the ones that are available from this search result. So that's basically how the web importer helps you save time and helps you to be device independent in terms of your searching. Searching takes a lot of time in research because you normally will want to be looking for the materials whilst you are seated writing the assignment or completing the project work. But if you are a fan of doing some of this on your phone whilst at a leisure time or traveling in a bus, you realize that you get to populate your account even before you have started to work. So I have them captured. So I come here, barriers on access to and use of adolescent information. So I check mark if I want this, and then you scroll through, you look at them. I normally always want to have the ones that come with the PDF because I want to be able to read attitude of gatekeepers toward adolescents. So I check mark it, all right. And then if, assuming I had a folder, by this stage, you should have created the folder already. Let me see if they have made an option available to create here. Yeah, I think so. No. Okay. So it says new folder. Yeah, so it says new folder. All right, but not, maybe I have to explore later. So you choose the Mendeley. One thing I like about them is that they are almost always updating. So you choose the folder you want it to go into. All right, then let's assume I want it to be in computer science, even though they are not related because I'll delete. Then you click on add. Okay, it says adding. All right, where's the first one? Adding. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what a reference manager does for you. And if you choose to use Mendeley, this is what you get. And I believe it will save you a lot of stress. I started taking people through this. I've taught a lot of PhDs and so many people during the first lockdown. I know some countries have had second and third lockdowns. During our first lockdown in Ghana, Elsevier called me to run, I don't know if some of you joined, to run this training for Africa engineers, and I did also one for the general public and all that. So I've done this a lot, and mostly people call back years after to say thank you because it saved them time. The advice is that don't wait until it gets to where the work is becoming tedious and you realize your reference list is, becoming long. because it will take time before, then you have to rather do more. So start now, as your organizers have been able to put this together. Use it. If you have a challenge call, go online. I learned this myself. All right. So you can also take the pain when you have a challenge, call a friend. You can call me, call anybody, sort it out, and then it becomes part of you. Then you realize that once after school, if you become an academic, it forms part of your writing. It makes it easier. All right. And you can also teach it to others and bless them. Thank you very much for attention. I'll take questions if there are any.
Thank you so much.
Can you mix the IEE style with the APA style in citation?
Okay, so for a single project, you cannot mix different styles, but you can change. So if you are let's assume you are writing to an IEE, let's say publication, then you have to choose their standard. Or if you are writing to a journal that uses IEE, then you have to select that. But let's say for your student project, your thesis, you can't, let's say chapter 1, then you use APA, chapter 2, say I'm using IE. No, your institution has a standard. So if we go into the standard, for instance, I know some universities have their own. So let's go to the list. You can see, I know I have, you see University of South Africa, this is their standard. And they use a version of Harvard. So meaning that they have customized the Harvard standards of referencing to suit their institutional requirement. So if we go into more, you realize that when we search Harvard, so let's get there. When we search, we have finished the training anyway. So when we get here and let's say we search, let's get to more and search for Harvard. You see there are so many variants of the Harvard referencing style. Look at them. So you have Cardiff University, biases, blah, 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 Harvard. You see the Montfort University, Harvard. So meaning that you ask and then your institution will tell you, if you are sending to a publishing house, please find out which referencing style they adopt so that you don't send it for them to send it back to you to do the needful. Normally you find this information on their website, but for your school, find out. Thank you. Any other question?
Thank you. Somebody wants to know if you can use EndNote and Mendeley to cite in the same document.
No, you are going to have a conflict. And the conflict is the two are rivals. I told you they are the two giants on the market. Even when you have them on your PC, sometimes I have not experienced that lately, but some time back when, did I even install EndNote on this machine? Normally you see that you are using Mendeley and then EndNote will pop up by force, use me. So you can't, don't try that, please. It will disturb you.
Okay.
Thank you a lot for your presentation. I've learned a lot and I'm beginning to use Mendeley from today.
Sharp. Bless you.
Yeah.
Great.
I want to take you back. Sorry, I want to take you back to the web page citation.
The what?
The web page citation.
The web page.
Yes, please.
Oh, the manual, when we create the manual, I had citation.
Yeah. Okay. So I found out, I was trying where we have the author's name. If you put in the author and then you don't select the institution.
So let me go there.
Okay.
So that's Mendeley, and then we are here, and this is what you mean, right?
Yes, please.
So we did for a web page.
Web page.
And then your question was?
Okay, so if you put in the author's name. And you don't select the institution organization. It doesn't give you the rule for the institution. So
it doesn't give you the
rule, the column where you can put the institution's name. For instance, you published on World Bank's page, so your name will be and then you would you not select institution organization.
Oh, so you mean as you went to World Bank's page and then the content on the page is for somebody. So the person is the author.
Yes, please.
Oh, yes. So you put the person as the author. But in that case, when you get down here, you put World Bank here.
Okay, when I tried that, I didn't select. If you do that, you will not have to select institution or organization. Maybe we can give it a try.
No, if you do that, don't select institution because you are using a person's name.
Yes, so it didn't give the column for institution. So you can.
No. It's not relevant.
Okay.
Yeah. But the URL will even take you to the site if anybody wants to. You see, the essence of referencing in helping avoid plagiarism and academic crime is just for verification. All right. So we are encouraged to put in enough bibliographic information for anyone who wants to authenticate the content to be able to visit the source and find out.
Okay.
All right.
Very much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Rich D, your hand is up. Rich D. I don't know if you spoke already.
Thanks so much, sir.
I think after this question, please, that will be the end because it's quite late in China here.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's fine. Okay, so Rich D, let's hear you.
Okay, thank you.
We have some very noisy background. Good. Rich D, please carry on.
Thank you. Said my question is: so how do you automate Mendeley to be receiving new articles? When we went to the web page, I didn't see like how you can automate Mendeley so that, assuming there are some publishers or writers you want the articles, the moment an article comes in a particular subject area, it comes into your Mendeley. Or maybe I'm expecting too much.
You are not expecting too much. It's always good to be greedy. That's where you get more. So what we're saying is that Mendeley will not send them directly into your account because even though it may be in your field of interest, right, you may not have need of it. Okay? So Mendeley suggests the content to you. Then you now, if you want it, have to push it into your account. All right. So in that case, what's the groups? Mendeley suggests the feature, and that's supposed to be under this. They've taken a few of the features out, but I know the suggest it still works based on when you create the account. All right. So when you go to, I think they've taken down that feed, but then you normally receive those suggestions in your email.
Okay.
You normally suggest. So let me show you something in my mail, just so you are sure it works. Including even what do you call it, job opportunities. Okay, so this is my UG mail. All right, don't open your eyes too much so you don't see what you don't supposed to see. So normally most of them will come under to other. So these are my focus mail. So what are some of them? So you can see some from Science Direct. You see Mendeley, all right, career. So they are suggesting jobs to me. All right. You see, I think the articles come into my main account. So let me go there. So you see there's one here. Disaster, you see, disaster management practice of academic. So let me click on it just so we see. So it comes to my mail. So hi, Eric Amponsa. Here are personalized suggestions for articles to read based on your Mendeley library. So you see that. So disaster management practices of academic libraries in, of course, I'm a librarian, so they are suggesting things in my field. So they leave it to you. So for this, thank you for the question. So let me click on this. So I like this one because I intend to write a paper on disaster management. So I like it, all right? So you saw me click on it, right? So from my mail, you go through the list. So what is happening is I think they have taken the feed that's list populate the listen off, but then it comes to your mail. So then you go through, you click on the ones you like, and then it brings you to the interface. So these were the jobs that were suggested to me and I was going through yesterday. So you see this. So once I come to the interface here, all right, I don't know why I couldn't find it, but it's here. So then it will be my duty now to say add to library. Okay. You get it? So when I click on add to library, just like using the web importer, only that this time Mendeley already had it captured. But then one thing I advise is that don't straight away send, say, add to library. When you do that, it's going to send only the bibliographic information. Do you get that? The author's name, the title, the journal, and all that. So what you do is you click on get full text at journal. So when you get to the journal, then now, if your institution, if the article is in a journal that your institution subscribes to, then when you get there, you can get the full article. So if you look at this, I think the full content is here, meaning that I can download. So, so you see PDF, all right? So once I see it like this, then now I can now go back here and click on web importer. Let's hope it's able to capture. It should capture because it's an authentic source. All right, so I click on web importer. Sometimes it will not be able to capture. That I must tell you. What it means is that you go the hard way. You download it to your desktop and then you add it to your account, right? So, okay, it's captured. It says searching, exactly, voila. So I have it. Do you get it? So once I click, so I think I have a folder on that topic. Library planning and something. Okay, so you look for the folder. I can even put it in library because these are resources in library. Then I put it there straight away. All right. So it's going to. So checking. So it's sending it. So that's what happens. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So you can put your hand down now. Okay. So I will.
Yeah.
So Mr. Moderator, please thank you for your vision. Normally, I'm excited when people do this, despite the time I have to spend doing it. Because, you know, I worked a long time as a teaching assistant. I saw students not graduating. I saw students having challenges with their project work and had to go to extension, meaning they had to pay more. And some of those things normally had to do with some of these basic things, all right? So when you have people like you, leaders who are visionary, to bring these kind of things to the attention of your members and organize training for them, I am always glad because you don't know the benefit and the life you are saving academically. So I'd like to thank you. I don't mind if you also thank me at the end, but that is fine. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you so much for making time to be with us out tonight and this afternoon. We are grateful. We started, supposed to start at 8. And it's now 11:30. So okay. I'm grateful to all of us who stayed on from 12 to 3:30 and from 8 to 11:30. I'm very grateful. And also,
welcome.
With us is, I think for me it's life-saving because in China here, everything's about paper. And if you are not able to cite for you, it's going to be a problem for you. And this is going to help us work on our projects and then work on our papers very quickly. So, Mr. Nwafu, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Throughout the presentation, your energy didn't die down. I am impressed.
This is what I do. This is my religion. So I do it with passion.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And
normally my audience get tired whilst I'm still, working. You can see some of your people have gone to sleep. Yeah. We were at 74 participants at I think somewhere around 140. Yeah. So I mean, around that time, people started dozing off. Anyway, how's China? I'm happy to know that a lot of you this grouped and coordinated. It's very inspiring.
Yeah. China is cool now. Life is virtually returning back to normal. So
okay,
it's getting better here. And then for my colleagues who are in China, when the recording is ready, we will share it on the various NUGS platforms for you to be able to download, and then possibly it will be on a NUGS website for you to download. But for my colleagues in Ghana who are not on any of our platforms, I have shared my contact, my Ghana WhatsApp contact in the chat box. You can, I've seen some people have started adding me. You can take my number, add me. And when the link is ready, I'll share it with you. Thank you so much for your presence. And thank you.
Okay. So Salam, are you the president?
I am the general secretary. The president is John Nelson.
Okay. Okay, you are the general secretary. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, quick one. Eric, please, how do we contact you? It's very important.
Okay. Let me just put my details in the chat if it's not closed yet. Okay, so I'm putting my phone number and email.
Great.
Oh, okay. We saw the email.
Okay, Mr. Eric.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you said it now. So the religion, the men should not delay religion. You are the Jesus Christ, and I think you will be the disciples. So we'll be around whenever there is any need, and we are handling them, and we need some miracles. We'll call on you always.
You're always welcome. You're always welcome. So my UG mail is mostly flooded. So I've given you my Gmail. All right. So and please, I deal with a lot of students. I do this training a lot. So when you call, it's good when it has to be on a personal level. But if it has to be academic, please, when you call, just say mention your name, say China, and then let's go straight into business. You know, some will call and they will ask, and even ask of your wife and ask you about your girlfriend. You know, and then before they come to the substantive, and sometimes, you know, it's good to chat. And you can always send, I'll respond to my WhatsApp. So if you have a query and don't get me online, I've been with you guys for over 3 hours, meaning that if somebody was trying to call me, I have not picked a single call since we started. So that can happen to you. So when that happens, please don't think that I don't want to pick. Just send me a WhatsApp. I'll respond appropriately when I'm free. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Mr. President.
All right.
Mr. President.
Yep.
Please give us a closing prayer.
All right. We pray. It's normal. We pray in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Our Lord and Master Jesus, we thank you for how far you brought us. We thank you for the knowledge shared. We thank you for the resource person. We pray that even as we in China are going to rest, whatever we've learned, we pray that may it be part of us so that we can also share among ourselves and then get our work in China done and get back home. These are many other things we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Mr. Yumes.
I can see some. I can see some are saying they didn't get my contact.
Yes.